Sounds right.
Pleasure to see everyone. This is YeNDoR'S WiLDCaT chat, a very special edition, VeTeRaN'S Day episode. We've been working on this for quite a while, trying to put this all together in respect for our military from Taft Union High School. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I have already people filtering into the lounge to come on today. It's going to be very interesting to hear everyone's, stories or situations, time served, or whatnot. I do have a co-host for you guys today. Give him a little bit of an intro. I'm very excited to bring this gentleman on. He was with us during the memorial that we had featured, and give him a little bit of an intro, folks. Boom. Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, not only an ASB president from our high school, welcome Mr. Brandon Smith from the US Army. How are you, sir?
Oh, man. I'm fantastic. Happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day, man. Good to see you. I love the background. Hey, I like that camo.
That's beautiful. Love it. Hat and everything. Like you went full on. I love it.
Oh, I went into my my treasure chest of clothes to find this hat. It took me a little while. I got my tag from my wife. I just, so everyone knows, I did not serve in the military, but I'm here and I'm in costume, I guess you can call it. You know, it's like the post Halloween costume I have on, maybe.
You're representing. That's what
representing. Yeah, thank you. Here's a little shot of Brandon. Look at this guy. What?
Well, that's a throwback right there.
A little bit of a throwback.
That was super innocent and unaware.
I love it. I was going to bring you on for a little bit, Brandon, and chat with you. And I put together a slideshow to show all of you. And I'm going to show the slideshow as soon as we're done wrapping up. Then we'll bring on our first guest. We have our lounge filling up, Brandon. This is going to be an exciting one today, man.
Nice. I'm stoked, man. I really am.
Yeah, you did amazing with the interviewing and everything on the 2020 Memorial Day. We did an episode, and yeah, man, it was great. I think we had somewhere around 12 vets that came on, and just hearing everyone tell their stories, reminisce, and it was awesome. I think it was a 3-hour show. Maybe it was 2. But it seemed like it was 3 hours.
Well, hopefully we can do it justice and get a little bit of talking from everybody and them telling their stories again this year. So I know that you've been working hard on trying to get some other people to come on, some people that probably have been lost in the woodworks. I know one specifically that I haven't talked to or seen since I was a junior in high school. So I'm super stoked about seeing him.
Yep.
And I'm just excited to hear what their experiences were, because everybody's experience in the military is always different, depending on the branch where you were and everything else. So I'm excited. I'm going to relax. I'm going to have some bourbon and hang out with you guys all day today.
I'm so excited, man. So tell me about your experience. When were you recruited the Armed Forces, and what was your situation, Brandon?
Yeah. So, for me, I wasn't what you'd call the traditional entry. The vast majority of people, they go into the military right out of high school. Or shortly thereafter, a year or so. I spent a couple years in junior college and went on to realize that college wasn't my thing. It wasn't meant for me. And then I for those of you who don't know me, I started dating Tara, one of our classmates, class of 92. Yeah. Back in around November, I guess, October of 1992 is when we started dating. And about that 3.5 year mark, I decided that she's who I wanted to marry. And in order to marry her, I needed to have a good job and be able to raise a family. So I had some options, and there was roadblocks in front of me. The choices were simple. I had 3 choices: go find a job that would pay me well enough to raise a family, go back to school to try to get a job later that would pay me well enough to raise a family, or join the military. I talked over those options a lot with Tara, as well as big influences were my dad and her dad, Mr. Penny, that a lot of you guys know. And everybody kind of encouraged me to join that military and take the opportunity to grow up. So I went over and enlisted. My mom told me, whatever you do, when you go over to talk to the recruiter, just don't sign up right away. Whatever you do, don't sign up right away.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, that's all good. I'm just going to go over and talk to him. So then I came back that evening and told her I signed up. She's like, that's not what I told you. I told you to take some time.
What was the turning point? I mean, where was the point that the light bulb went off and he said, yeah, we're doing it today?
And, to be honest, it was, I think I was just recruiters are good, right?
Yeah.
Everybody here that'll get on today, if they were recruited and not drafted, they're going to tell you the recruiter told them all kinds of stuff that didn't happen. They told them promises that never occurred.
Yeah.
And because they're like a used car salesman, right? They're trying to get you to join, and so they're going to tell you everything you want to hear. And my initial was I wanted to be an MP. That's what I wanted to do. I went in and tested and sat down with them, and they said, you don't qualify. Your scores were a little bit on the high side. And the military is really interesting because the way that they do it is you had to take an ASVAB test, right? And so you get a score, and wherever you score, they kind of have a block. There's like a window, right? And there's a high side and then there's a low side. And anywhere in between are job skill sets. And wherever you score, you're in that window, and that's your only choices. So if anything's outside of those choices, you don't get to choose it, because they found that if you score at a higher level and you want to do something on a lower level, although infantry, they'll let everybody join the infantry. That's the truth. But if you score on a higher level, they don't want to give you a job that's going to bore you. They want something that's going to keep you motivated and keep you working and keep you interested. And so they do a pretty good job of trying to find a job that is going to fit your skill set. And that's if you took your ASVAB seriously. I know a lot of guys, a lot of gals, they go in and they just kind of chicken scratch real quick, get it done with, and whatever score is whatever score. I studied before I went, which was probably stupid, to be honest with you, because I ended up not being able to do what I really wanted to do at the time. So anyway, I sat down with the recruiter. He went over the list of jobs that was available to me, and one of them was to be an explosive ordnance disposal technician. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but explosives sounds kind of cool. So we talked about it a little bit and found out it was basically like being the bomb squad for the military. And I thought to myself, because my intention was to use the military as a stepping stone for later in life for a career. And I thought, heck, if I was a bomb squad guy or a bomb tech in the military, that might translate good to be a police officer, because that's what I wanted to do, was be a police officer. And I figured there's a good transition possibility. So the opportunity was there. There was a signing bonus way back when in 96. And I guess it was 95 when I signed up. So I just went ahead and signed up right away. So getting back to my story, when I went home, told my mom, hey, I already signed up. She's like, oh, Lord have mercy. What did I do? And then she said, so what did you sign up for? And I said, I'm going to be an explosive ordnance disposal technician. And she about had a heart attack. She fell out. She's like, not only did you sign up for the military, but now you signed up to play with explosives.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, that go down? Was it as a kid, 4th of July? Were you the one in charge of the fireworks, or how did that go down?
I don't know. I think everybody has some like intrigue with explosives, right? It's fireworks always intriguing. I don't know. It seemed like a really cool opportunity, something different. And my mom, all she kept thinking about is man, this is the most accident prone kid that I have. He's going to kill himself. He's going to blow himself up. And so she kind of freaked out a little bit, but she grew to enjoy it and learn to appreciate what the military provided to me, and the experiences that it gave me. So that was kind of how I signed up, and off I went.
And following into the footsteps. Let's bring this image on. Let me know what you think about this. Tell me about this guy.
Well, man, this is my father. For those of you who don't know,
rest in peace. Yes.
Yeah.
Such a good man.
A good guy who always was a family man, always cared about everybody, and was a huge influence on my life, as well as going into the military. He was encouraging me. He knew I was young and immature, and I needed something to give me a little bit of direction. And so he encouraged me to join. And, I ended up choosing the Army, following in his footsteps, where he was a drill sergeant during Vietnam, and kind of a big footsteps or shoes to fill. So I decided not to try to fill them at all. I sidestepped and did my own thing in the military. But he was super proud that I made that decision to join the military, and ultimately it paid off dividends for myself and my family. So
awesome, man. Well, I'm so honored to have you on board today to help me co-host to do this, and awesome you're coming back. I just want to have a couple shots, a couple images to throw on my behalf. I have my father on my granddad on my father's side was a chaplain, and here's a shot of him. He remind me of Eisenhower. He has that Dwight Eisenhower, doesn't he?
He does. As soon as I saw it, I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Chaplain James Cotton is his last name. Cotton on last name. And I have him, and then also my Uncle Paul was a commander in the Navy, and he served. I didn't grab the years that he had served. Actually, the family was like, man, I'm not even sure about that. Good question. But he was in World War II. He went to World War II, and my granddad, Marcus Welch. See the resemblance? He also served. He served in the Army. And I have my Uncle David in here too, but I think I didn't put him into the queue. Sorry, Uncle Dave, but he's there in there as well. Tell you what, Brandon, I'm going to do. We have people flooding into the lounge. Hello, guys. We're going to give you guys each 10 minutes to share and to reminisce or whatnot. I have something special to show you guys before we get the ball rolling. I spent some time to put this together for you guys. I'll put it on full screen. See if I can pull her up. This is the. I just wanted to say I want to show appreciation to all the veterans that have served, but this video is especially for the ones who have served from Taft High alumni. So
can I add just a quick something to that, Rod?
Sure.
I kind of saw a preview of what you were working on earlier, and so I kind of know what's coming. But I just want to say that, for those of you out there that are veterans that you didn't get on this role, hit us up, let us know, send us your information, send us a picture. We'll throw you on there for next year, because I think this is something that we're going to try to continue to do once a year, twice a year, something like that. So make sure you let us know, because so many of us, our lives have just scattered, and we're not sure of who did what and when and so on and so forth. And then the other thing is, I know for a fact that there's a handful of our classmates, as well as TUHS alum, that joined the military, and for some reason or another, they didn't make it through their entire enlistment. Sometimes it was medical, sometimes it was just a moment in life that just didn't match up at that time. But I just want to say I salute you, I honor you. you guys are also veterans in my mind. Whether you made that time frame that they classify you, you signed up and you went in and you just broke something and couldn't make it through, you're still a veteran. You went and you put it out there. So thank you. Kudos to you guys just as well, and you gals. I just wanted to add that last little bit, because I know some people out there aren't super proud of the time that they served because they couldn't fulfill their first enlistment. And don't do that. Don't beat yourself up over that. You signed up, you went in, things just weren't working and didn't align for you in that time. So, in my mind, I salute you and thank you.
I appreciate you saying that, B. Well, you guys, everyone out there, get the kids into the living room, pull the family in, and I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to get the ball rolling. Enjoy the show. Man, oh, I have the chills. I got to tell you, B, I have the chills. Are you there?
Oh, that was good stuff, man. I
All
love
right.
it.
All right. You know what? Rachel says, how can you watch this so many times? Because I'm editing it all. I go, how can you not watch it many times? That was my answer. All right, guys, let's get the ball rolling. I'm going to bring on the first guest. What? First guest to kick it off. Please give us First Sergeant, 22 years, Brandon.
Man, that takes some life commitment right there.
22 years as a combat medic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. John Buford.
What's up, John?
What's up, man?
Yes.
It's good to see
What's
you,
up,
buddy.
my brother?
Good to see y'all, man.
Man,
Yeah.
when you decided to come on, I was super excited about it, man. I was like, man, I was the funniest part was I reached out to you, I think like a few weeks back, and I was asking you because we were trying to prepare some stuff for our high school reunion, and I asked you for some info, and you were like, me? Why me? And then come to find out, I didn't realize it. You graduated the year in front of us. So that probably totally confused you that I was talking about our reunion. And so, but super good to see you, man.
Super good to see you, man. Both of you.
It's a pleasure.
Freaking weather changed here in Texas. It's all for the better. It's been pretty hot this summer. So just had a little front come in. So it's kind of cool. But
Nice.
it's a pleasure to be on with you guys. What a great thing y'all put together for sure, man.
Oh, it's an honor, man. It's an honor. So you're class of 91, and as far as going into the U.S. Army, how did that all begin? If you could walk us through your experience briefly, because I know you had quite a few years. Wow, 22 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, I graduated when I was in Taft. I was 17 when I graduated, so I didn't go straight in. I went to Taft College for about 2 semesters. And kind of like Brandon, I was like, well, this really ain't for me right now. I really wanted to go to school, be a nurse practitioner, or even go to medical school. But I was like, well, man, I want to go do something. So I moved back to Texas and went and visited some relatives. And traditionally in the military, you join because you're patriotic, or you get in some kind of trouble. So I got back. I got in a little trouble, got a little DUI in Louisiana, and worked through my probation and all that, and just kind of sitting around at my uncle's house because my mom was so mad at me. They had moved back to Texas. She wouldn't let me move home, and saw one of those "Be All That You Can Be" commercials.
Yeah.
Guys jumping out of airplanes, rappelling out of helicopters, and I called a recruiter. Sitting there, I was watching Days of Our Lives or something. I don't know, man. I was just doing nothing. So, you know, kind of like Brandon said, I went down and talked to the recruiter, and I just told him I wanted something medical, and I wanted to jump out of airplanes and rappel out of helicopters and what have you. Took the ASVAB, like Brandon was saying, and scored pretty high, and qualified for military intelligence, all kinds of stuff. But I was like, I don't want to do that. They were trying to talk me into jobs that I really didn't want to do, but they really needed people to fill. It's like, look, if you can't give me something medical, man, look, I'm not too particular. I just want to do something medical. So like, you can be a combat medic, and yeah, man, you end up in a hospital and this, that, and the other. And yeah, I didn't go to a hospital till my last 2 years in the military.
Right.
They say combat medic, but yeah, I mean, I went to basic training. From basic training, I went to airborne school.
Where was basic for you?
I went to basic at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, Fort Lost in the Woods. Went there, then I went to AIT here in Fort Sam, Houston, finished that up. Then went to airborne school, went to air assault school, and didn't go to any kind of unit like that. They sent me to Germany for 2.5 years. So it was pretty cool. My unit reflagged. We went back to Fort Lewis, Washington from Germany, the whole unit. And
so John, a real quick moment. I'm sorry to interrupt. When you talk about reflagging, a lot of people, because they're not in the military, they have no idea what you're talking about.
Thanks for saying that, Brandon. Because
so explain to everybody what
Googling.
reflagging means.
Well, units come and go. So like a unit, they'll retire their colors. So the unit may have been around for 25 years. They'll retire their colors, which means the unit goes away temporarily. It may come back later. And when I say reflag, I went from being 1st Armored Division to Fort Lewis. We were 2nd Infantry Division, which was actually in Korea. So our main focus point was Korea. So we moved the whole unit to Fort Lewis. Then they had a ceremony and they stamped a big Indian head patch on our uniform. It completely ruined uniforms, by the way. Like you had, as soon as you moved, it had a smaller.
It's ginormous.
It's ginormous. Yeah, it's like a first cav patch. It ruins your uniform. So we reflagged to that, but I was like, man, it was a tank unit, and I was like, dude, I've got airborne wings, air assault. So I went down to Ranger Battalion at 275 Ranger Battalion, went and talked to their sergeant major, and was a pretty fit guy. I mean, me and Brandon, I mean, we were on a wrestling team together, so I was a pretty fit guy, and they took me in, man. They were like, I got orders. I went to 2nd 75th Ranger Battalion, and I wasn't there, but maybe I'd say 2 months. I didn't even get an opportunity to go to Ranger School. They sent me to South and Central America doing counter drug operations for like 7 months.
Wow.
So ended up doing that, and I came back and I re-enlisted. Not to stay there. I wanted to go home. I hadn't been home I'd been on leave one time in 4 years. So I want to be stationed close to home. So I volunteered to go to Fort Polk, of all places, where nobody wants to go. Because my mom lived about an hour from there. My dad was about an hour. And I ended up there and ended up in 509th Airborne, which is Joint Readiness Training Center. I ended up training people on guerrilla warfare tactics or counter tactics, what we call counterinsurgency. We were the insurgents. So I got to play the enemy for about 3 years.
It's a ton of fun right there.
Well, which leading into the future wars actually, helped a whole lot. So,
Sure.
Yeah. So I ended up there for about 3 years, and then Fort Bragg, 82nd Airborne Division, left there, Korea. And from Korea, Fort Bragg, I went to Kosovo. I invaded Kosovo with 82nd Airborne Division. And then went to Korea. September 11th happened while I was in Korea. I was on a long-range surveillance detachment. So my detachment went on mules and horseback into Afghanistan from Pakistan.
Wow.
So before the invasion started, kind of like 12 Horses, that movie. There were about 40 of those teams, but they actually were the ones who influenced how we took over Afghanistan. Not to downplay them, because those guys absolutely turned an entire force against its own people. So, but we were in there lasing targets. Our job was not to be seen. And lasing targets in the mountains for aircraft to bomb and stuff like that. So
wow. So
then I ended up invading Afghanistan.
Where were you in this picture, John?
What rank was I? I was on first class there. That was, I think, 2009 to 2010. No, 2009 to 2011. I was there for 16 months. I was a combat advisor to the Iraqi Army in Diwania province, which is in pretty much south central Iraq. Place called Najaf. I was stationed out in Najaf, but I lived with the Iraqis 2 weeks out of the month, and then 2 weeks on my home base. So we train their commando forces.
That's amazing. It's an honor to have you on here today, man. I'm really looking forward to hearing everyone's situation and kind of, piecemeal. I was telling Brandon, I go, maybe we'll just give 10, 15 minutes to kind of go over their story and their situation. And it's a pleasure to be a part of this. And I talked to Brandon about it right around the reunion time, and he was on board instantaneously. So it's a pleasure to have you on, man. So what was going on through your mind when all this was happening? Did it feel like you were living a movie? I mean, you went through a lot. It's crazy.
Well, the first, I'd say, 9 years of my career, I didn't do anything but party. I mean, and go through and go through wives. I mean, but by the time I hit
go
Iraq,
through wives that were like,
yeah, man, yeah. By the time I got to Iraq the first time, I was already on my third wife. So, and I'm on my fourth wife now, but she's we've been together 17 years. So, and got a grandchild. So we're we're stable. But pretty much partied the first 9 years, and then like the next 12, 13. I was in and out of Iraq. I trained combat medics for 5 years here at Fort Sam Houston, surgical procedures labs. It went by so fast, especially the last 13 years, because I was in and out between training people and and going back and forth to Iraq and Afghanistan. It went by fast. It was I don't know if it was like a movie. If it was a movie, it was fast forward.
Happened so quick, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
before I knew it, I was an old man at a young age. It just takes a tear on your body a little bit, and had to make some decisions for quality of life later on. I got a ton of jumps, so my knees were a wreck, spinal column was a train wreck. So just kind of and what a great career though, man. It was the best job I ever had, man. It's like Fury, best job. Yeah. Well, I still work for the government. I train officers now.
So. Right on.
That's great.
So you were in for a really long time. I mean, 22 years is a pretty good stint in the Army, especially in the field that you were in. How was it on your transition out? I mean, the military life is pretty rigid at times, and that's constant deployments and everything else. How was that transition back to what everybody refers to as civilian life? And did you have somebody that was helping you through that?
Man, I was my wife probably was the most influential person in my transition. I had a ton of issues, man. I had post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorder, and just for the people out there who have it, go get seen for it. My wife, she had to cue me in while I was on active duty to go get seen, but I was medicated, and again, I'm not knocking the military medical system. They try to medicate everything away. I had 7 herniated discs when I left. Knees were pretty bad. Well, one of them, and I'd had 2 shoulder surgeries. I was on Vicodin, taking about 4 of those a day. They had me on an antipsychotic, antidepressant, and I was probably drinking 1.5 liters of whiskey.
Let's just call it too much.
1.5 liters of Jack Daniels about every other day was gone. But I was coping because the medication, it just numb you. So really between my wife and my mom, they told me I was in a weird rut in life. About a year after I got out, I was actually operating and running a frac sand company here in South Texas. But I was drinking a lot, pretty much get home, veg out. And it was tough. And my wife said, look at your pictures. You haven't smiled in 2 years. Wow. And I looked back, even when I was on active duty, I was on all those meds, didn't smile. I went in.
Just numbed you out, right?
It did. I went in and flushed it all out, man. I took every medication I had, flushed it. I got back in the gym, and that's my coping mechanism now, man. I'm a gym rat, 3 days a week. I'm still a fat old man, but I can still get it.
You're not a fat old man.
Yeah, but it's tough, man. I think it's tough on a lot of veterans, even when you're not medicated and you don't have a bunch of medical issues and things. It's a tough transition because the military is so regimented. You don't have to think a whole lot. Even when you're in charge. I mean, I was in charge of a medical company. I ran the largest outpatient care department in the entire Army. Was my final job. But it was so regimented. I mean, I get up, do PT in the morning. I go do physical training. I go to work however many hours is required. We don't really have set hours. And do it over again every day. So once you get out, it's not like that. It's
you had to pick out your clothes too every day now.
That was a bad thing, man. I mean, picking out clothes was pretty tough. But I did learn the best thing about retirement is a time card and comfortable shoes, man.
There you go.
That's my thing now, man. I have more shoes than Pia Zadora, bro. I'm freaking telling you, man. I got freaking shoes and boots and everything's comfortable, and I learned that comfort is a little bit expensive too. So
absolutely, man.
It's the biggest thing me and my wife have in common. But
for Sharon John, I'm going to go ahead and transition. We have another veteran from the US Army. I think like we have the Army crew so far.
We're going to keep John on.
Yeah, keep on, John.
Yeah,
go ahead. Stay on. Stay on.
Yeah,
we can all chat. You can still hear me. This guy, 10 years in the military. 10 years in the military. Bradley, mechanic, staff, sergeant. Welcome aboard, guys. Mr. Jeffrey Pontin.
Ah, my old neighbor.
How's it going, man?
Old neighbor.
What's up, Jeff?
Yeah, not too much. You hear me all right?
There you go.
I'm doing fantastic.
That's
what
cool.
a pleasure to have you on board, Jeff. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Actually, yeah, the last 30 years have been pretty spectacular.
Spectacular.
Well,
That's
30
awesome.
seconds, give us 30 years.
There you go.
Oh, okay, that's pretty
Take
quick.
3 minutes. Go ahead.
After high school, basically in early '93, I joined the Army. Did the same thing you guys did. Took the ASVAB, scored pretty high on it. Wasn't really interested in like your military intelligence type jobs. I wanted to continue being a mechanic, so they offered me a couple different mechanic positions. I took the Bradley mechanic position, not realizing I'd be attached to infantry units the entire time I was in. But hey, I had a blast doing it. But yeah, I went there, Fort Leonard Wood for my basic training, Fort Knox for my advanced. From there, they shot me over to Schweinfurt, Germany. I did 2 tours there. I re-enlisted to stay over there because I loved it over there so much.
Awesome.
I traveled almost every single corner of Europe. Saw most countries that most people probably wouldn't even want to go to. Pretty much, most of my military was deployment after deployment. I caught all the peacekeeping missions. 7 months in Macedonia, guarding the border. I did 2 tours down in Bosnia and tour in Kuwait. And then after that, that's basically when I got out. But after Schweinfurt, I went to Fort Hood, Texas. Spent my last 4 years down there. Then ended up getting out. I started having a couple issues from an injury I had back in Bosnia. My last tour that was in Bosnia, and just decided to not continue it. So decided to get out beginning in 2002.
What's going on, Rod?
Oh, sorry about that. That's me. Hold on a second.
Hey, you got 2 cameras going on there, Rod.
Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. I was trying to pull up a picture of Mr. Pontin, and it's not on my queue. I was going to pull it.
Man, I
on
see
here.
2 of y'all are drinking. I'm about to freaking go give me something to drink, dude.
Go do it.
Go for it.
I can give me a bourbon, man. Y'all are doing the right thing.
Hey.
We are not going anywhere anytime soon.
I'm right there with you. It looks like I got to fill mine up too.
Oh yeah, you need a refill, man.
Oh, got it right here.
Got my cup of Joe over here, Jeff. See?
Nice.
Just in case y'all need to drive home, I'll be there for you.
So where are you at now, Jeff?
I'm in upstate New York, in Endwell. It's around the Binghamton area.
Okay.
I met my wife down in Texas when I was down in Fort Hood. We ended up moving to Dallas for a few years, and then she grew up here. She grew up here on the Finger Lakes. Her parents still have a house on Juanita Lake. So it was kind of a toss-up. We didn't know if we wanted to move to California, move up here to New York. At the time, it looked like moving to New York was a better option. Just basically because the way the economy was, the way the housing market was, cost of living, it looked like a better deal. So we moved up here, and we've been up here since 2005.
Oh, quite a while then.
2005. Yeah, I absolutely love it up here. The weather's beautiful. We actually get all 4 seasons.
Yeah, extreme 4 seasons though.
Not too much. The winters, when I first moved up here, the first year I moved here, it was -16 in November. And that was
that's not extreme. Sure.
Well, it hasn't been like that since. The winters have actually been pretty mild. So
yeah, -4.
I got a pic of you, Jeff. Here we go. I'll just do it this way.
Oh, look at that.
Stud.
Yeah, that was about the last year I was in Germany.
Wow, Germany. Wow.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you had lots of opportunities presented to you because of the military, having, being over in Germany and being able to take off on vacation and see some things. Like tell me one of the countries that you went to that like other people probably wouldn't even entertain the idea of going on vacation to.
We spent some time down in Sofia, Bulgaria, which is Bulgaria is kind of a non-UN sanctioned country, so you really don't want to make any mistakes there. And yeah, we went down and kind of partied it up quite a bit and Sophia almost came close to getting into some trouble. But after the military, I was in Afghanistan, but not active. I actually did military contracting after the military.
Okay.
For a little bit, and we were stationed in Uzbekistan, and we did flights in and out of Afghanistan to Mazar-e-Sharif. Basically just working on Brown and Root vehicles, working on a couple other contractor vehicles. So I like being down there in Mez. It was kind of nice. I spent most of my time not really doing much. I hung out with all the Jordanian doctors that were living in like a tent city next to the hospital. So that was, one of those kind of interesting times.
Yeah. Experiences that most people don't get, right?
Yeah, it did open a lot of doors for a lot of opportunities. I've done a lot. I mean, I don't know, the amount of different job fields that I've been in is, it's pretty large. Right now, I'm actually working seasonal now because I like having the winters off. So I actually work for a paving company, head of safety, and I do just about everything else there. And we work 6-7 months out of the year, and then we basically take the rest of the year off while it's cold. So, we kind of hibernate.
There you go.
So no, it's actually been a really fun ride. Like I said, if you guys remember me from high school, I mean, I know my senior year was kind of weird. I've kind of made a few mistakes, but I was kind of on the thin, scrawny side. And the 5 years I was in Germany, I gained 50 pounds of muscle.
Wow.
I kind of hit that point where I was like, you know what? I'm like, a lot of the work I was doing was real heavy work. So my body caught up with me. It was like, yeah, we need to start, getting bigger, start getting stronger. And at the same time, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm tired of being small. I'm tired of being thin. So I basically hit the gym like 6 days a week.
Wow.
And I basically pushed myself to the point where, yeah, I got to where I wanted to be and probably a little farther.
That's awesome.
But I still go to the gym, not nearly as much as I used to, but I still stay at a decent fitness level. The military does ingrain that into you. You usually want to keep yourself fit to a certain point. Sometimes you just kind of start feeling like, I don't know. Me personally, I kind of feel like crap if I don't go to the gym for a while.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like, yeah, you're physically, whenever you're training, it helps your mindset to mentally be stronger. You know what I mean? A lot of times I work out just so my mind gets focused. And you know what I mean?
Yep.
Kind of cleans out the cobwebs, as they say,
Well, I don't run anymore. I can tell you that.
Yeah, the banging on the back and the knees is a son of a gun, right?
Take your time. Man. Why run? Let's just get there in our own time,
My right knee shot. My lower back's got some issues. I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm not running anytime soon.
Hey, so this is kind of for both of you guys. I never spent any time overseas in my military service. I only did 4 years of the Army life. And, but I've got a lot of buddies who, spent their entire life in there or, 10, 15, 20 years in. And it was a little bit different back in the day that you guys all joined and I joined. Communication was a kind of a difficult thing with family, right? If you're overseas, how did you guys stay in touch with family and friends and things like that? I mean, you didn't have Zoom back in that day,
right,
which would have been a super cool thing. Like the soldiers and right, airmen and Marines and stuff nowadays, they got no problem with staying in touch. How was it for you guys? Did you feel like you lost touch, and how did you try to maintain some of those relationships? Either one of you.
I think, in Kosovo, they got phones set up pretty quick with calling cards that were like $1 a minute. So it was pretty expensive, especially on a Sergeant E5 salary. And Afghanistan, I was there like 42 days. There was no communication home at all because it was before the invasion. And then in Iraq, it was sat phone. You got 2 minutes on the sat phone once a week.
Wow.
And that's it. Hence,
that's like boot camp time.
Well, hence
right,
ex-wife number 3. Okay, there wasn't really any communication, and it usually your phone call got cut off, and they didn't start counting your 2 minutes again. So you had enough time to say hi, everything's going okay. I got to go. But by the time I hit my next deployment in 2009, I pretty much deployed from 2009 to 2013. I only came home for 6 months. We had Skype. We had internet in our little we call them chews. They're the little trailers, Connex type trailers. We had internet and you could Skype home when you had an opportunity. So it got better. They got better at establishing those things.
Great.
That's my experience with it. From really
Jeff?
crappy to really good.
Well, from Germany, it was kind of the same thing. Expensive phone calls. You had to sign up with a plan or buy like AT&T calling cards. We did still send a lot of letters. I know that's a thing of the past now. When we were deployed, we actually had we could connect with landlines back to the United States, but you had to call from their phones that we had on base. You had to call back to a base in the States, and then they would contact you to a local number. So you had
what was that called? Because I remember even using that for a time.
Yeah,
what was that called?
It was a DSN.
That's it.
That's a DSN call. Yeah, I forgot about that. We did that in Kosovo. We used the DSN line in a little house that we were in. It was our military phone. But yeah,
not like about a 5-second delay.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it had a little delay, but it was free.
Yeah, it was free. It didn't cost anything, so you just kind of dealt with it.
Right on.
Well, fellas.
So what?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna ask you too, Jeff. What are you doing nowadays? What's going on with your situation? Where are you working, or where?
Yeah, I'm working. Like I said earlier, I work seasonal up here in New York. So I work for a road construction company.
Gotcha. Sorry, I missed that part. I have a couple of people in our lounge I'm trying to still connect with, let them know that we're going to be bringing them on. So I missed it.
That's fine.
Hey Jeff, wasn't your dad in a Caltrans guy?
No, he wasn't Caltrans. They were the other team. He was part of the county road department. Okay,
all right. I knew he had something to do with road stuff. So you're kind of following in your pop's footsteps.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's like all the different things I've done, and I end up working for a company that does road construction. So
all of those things.
Yeah, it's weird how life takes you, But I mean, I honestly, God has put me in a lot of places for a lot of reasons, and I mean, it's just been amazing.
That's awesome.
So,
fantastic.
Yeah, thank you guys for doing all this.
Absolutely, man.
Speaking of your dad, was your dad in the military?
Yeah, he was a first class petty officer in the Navy Seabees.
Oh.
I thought I remembered seeing. So for some of you guys, you're like probably going, well, how does Brandon and Jeff? Where's the connection besides the school? When I first moved to Taft, I lived 6 houses away from you.
Yeah, you lived right up the street.
Yeah, just right up the street. And so I had like 3 friends. It was Jeff, his older brother, Michael, and then John Arnold, who lived directly across the street from Jeff. So that was like the people that I hung out with all the time. And for probably the first 2 or 3 years, I think that I lived in Taft. And then we moved away. So, but yeah, that was super early, young age. I remember going over to your house and playing with your Hot Wheels and stuff. That was good times.
Holy cow! What
you didn't have GI Joes? You guys didn't do the GI Joe thing, or no?
We probably did, to be honest with you. I know we had GI Joes, but that was so. I think I was probably in 3rd grade. So what would that be like? 82.
Yeah. What are you, 6 or 7 years old, 6 years old, something like that?
Yeah, something like
82,
that.
you might have been like more 7 or 8,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it was like 2nd grade, something like that.
If you guys don't mind, you go ahead and stay on the couch where you are. I'm going to bring in another vet, and we're going to limit it to 6 people at most. I was contemplating on 4, but I think we won't be talking over one another. We'll keep it controlled. But I have somebody else to bring on board. Thank you for sharing, Mr. Jeffrey Pontin. Folks.
Hey, I'm on
US Navy. Oh, we're down to a soldier.
He'll come back.
He'll come back. All right, we have a US Navy. He served from 92 to 2004. 12 years. A lot of time in the military on board here. Electronics technician, Marine service. Everyone, welcome aboard, Mr. Tommy Vega. What?
Vega!
What's up, guys?
What's up,
How are you
team?
guys?
Easy was
Not much, right?
chilling patiently, listening to the
Chilling
stories.
patiently.
Man.
Man, I was just listening to the great stories. I was thinking, like, man, everybody's like got all these, tours overseas and everything like that. Like, damn, how am I gonna stack up? How am I gonna follow with that? So, yeah,
that's a real thing, Tommy. I'm telling you right now, that's a real thing, and I struggled with it for a long time, where I wasn't super proud of the time that I had served because I never had the opportunity to go overseas and be deployed. And it took me a long time to finally go, you know what? I signed up for it. It wasn't my fault that they didn't send me. It wasn't my fault that we were in semi-peaceful times. But it truly, there's a little bit of that. I don't know what you call it. I mean, I guess if it was a disaster, you'd call it like that survivor syndrome, right? Where you just feel like you aren't as equal of a veteran as those veterans who actually went overseas and maybe had seen combat, maybe not, who knows? But you feel less than, right? You feel like that kid that sat on the sideline on the football team. That's the truth, really.
Absolutely, yeah. I went to this to the Taft little veterans thing that they had. You had all the Vietnam vets and everything there, and you're thinking like, man, I was just on a submarine. We were just punching holes in the earth or in the water, and we were just going through. So, so that was kind of the highlight. Going to Hawaii a few times and everything like that. But
I don't know if she's up.
To do that.
So the sweet life. So Tommy was living the sweet life while you guys were over in the desert because
true.
of the heat. Tommy's going to Hawaii.
He's playing in the water.
You know what I mean? Underway. Us submariners do eat good. So
we're not hating on you, man. Look, everybody's got their own path in the military, and it doesn't take you to the same place all the time.
Absolutely.
But thank you guys for whatever service you have, man. I mean, it's all selfless, and that's what's all veterans have in common. Very selfless profession.
Absolutely.
So Tommy, tell us.
Go ahead.
Tell us what was it that spurred you to join the Navy, and then kind of your path. Where did you go to basic training, and hit some of the highlights for us so we can kind of get a picture of who Tommy was as a sailor.
Let me give you the quick highlights. Well, as you guys know, my parents were pretty strict, and so all the cool parties that you guys got to go to and everything like that, and all the cool pictures you guys have, sometimes I'm not in those pictures because my parents were real strict. And so in my mind, I was like, hey, you know what? I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. And in July of '91, which was my birthday, I signed up to join the military. I was first going to go to the Marine Corps. And then the Navy recruiter called our home phone, back then. And my mom said, yeah, sure. I got home and mom's like, hey, the Navy recruiters are coming. And I'm like, no, I'm going to the Marines. Well, you know what I mean? I'm going to the Marines. I want to look like Jeff Pontin now. And maybe I should have, dude, because the Navy didn't work. Well, like Brandon was saying, those recruiters were real good, and he got me going into the Navy. But you know what? It was the best decision. I went to the Navy. I was in the delayed entry program for a year, and I was in MEPS, which is the Military Entry Processing Station, a year before on my birthday at 17 years old, because I was like, hey, my parents are strict. I just want to get out, do my life, and so I was, So I joined then. I even got Chris Bañuelos. I got him to join, and that got me like an E3 out of the military. So,
so you threw him under the bus to get promoted. Nice job.
Let's go, yeah.
Good job on that one, brother.
So I did that, and then 17 days after I graduated high school, I was in boot camp, Great Lakes, Great Mistakes as they call it, in Illinois.
Luckily, it was summer though.
Yeah, And I did my my birthday, 18th birthday in boot camp, you know, doing push-ups and all that stuff, you know. And out of there, I went to Connecticut. I went to Groton, Connecticut, because they signed me up to do navigation electronics on board a submarine. So I went there. And I did my A school out of there, which is, you know, your main job to learn electronics and everything there. And then from Connecticut, I went to Washington State. I went to a naval base called Bangor, Washington, which probably it's north of, you know, Fort Lewis and all that stuff, joint McCord Air Force Base. And so it's near Bremerton. And so I was on board a submarine there. It's called the USS Alabama. It was a ballistic nuclear submarine. We carried nuclear missiles on there, and man, we just many cold nights out of there, and then we would transition over to the warmth of Hawaii. So that's what I did on board. You know, I was doing navigation and all that kind of stuff. You know, underway. You know, sleeping in, you know, small little rack and everything like that. But we ate good, I'll tell you that.
Did you guys? So there's this term with a lot of submariners. They call it hot cotton. Did you hot cot?
Hot racking? We did.
There you
yeah.
go.
What is that?
A little bit
hot racking?
So hot racking is when basically they don't have enough beds for the people, right? For the crew. And so while somebody is working, you're sleeping in the bed, and then when they get off of work, they jump in the bed and you go to work. So you're swapping kind of beds. It's called hot racking.
Just not enough room, right?
Not enough beds. Hot racking is because, you know, the rack is nice and hot. You know what I mean? Because somebody else just got out of it. So
they kept it nice and warm for you.
Nice and warm. So. But yeah.
So outside of TAP, you formed your own party. You said, you know, I don't need TAP parties. I'm going to go experience the world and form my own gathering. So you're saying? I'm going to
go experience the world, and I'm not coming back to TAP. And guess what? I live in TAP now. So that's a story.
It all circles around, right?
Yeah. So I did, you know, I did the military there. You know, I was on board the USS Alabama. I did shore duty as an instructor. And then I did a little bit of auxiliary security force. And then as I was getting ready to transition to another submarine, I wound up getting sick. I lost a lot of weight. I was pale. I just didn't have any energy. And so I went to the doctor. I went to, you know, to sick call. And I wound up getting diagnosed with leukemia. Chronic myeloid leukemia.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah. So I got airlifted from right there at the base, Bangor. I got airlifted to Fort Lewis McCord because they had it was called Madigan Army Medical Center hospital there. They had oncologists, and you know, from there I got discharged, and I'm still treatment, you know, to this day. I still have to take medicine for the rest of my life, but man, it's been in remission, and I've been feeling pretty good. So that's my
God bless.
transition now. Wow. Yeah. So God is taking care of me for sure. You know,
I'm gonna have to rewatch this episode a couple of times to just drink all this information,
absorb it all. Right?
Oh my God, there's so much. You guys have gone through so much. I'm so glad, honored to have done this for you guys. Set this all up with Brandon, man. It's amazing.
Hey, so Tommy,
yeah.
So you spent 12 years in. One, and your job title was electronics technician. Is that right?
Yeah. Navigation electronics technician. Yeah.
So describe that's a cool sounding name of a job. What was it that you actually did?
So basically what I did is I took care of some equipment that you would give the submarine the latitude and longitude. And as the ship would go off the dock, it had these accelerometers that would sense, you know, just like you are in a car and you accelerate and you feel you feel yourself go back. These accelerometers would update our position. And because when we're underway, we don't have, you know, no GPS or anything like that. So we rely on
satellite doesn't work underwater.
Absolutely. We have these inertial navigators. And so the primary mission was, you know, to keep those intact and to provide the nuclear missile a base like position, right? If we're out in the middle of the water, we'd give it a coordinate of like, hey, this is where you're at if we ever had to launch. And then as soon as it launched, the missile would, it's got a window that it fixes itself on a star up there, and then it corrects its position for, you know, for wherever it needs to go. So that was my, you know, just providing position to the ship. So
that's awesome. That's
great.
cool.
That's great. You guys are getting some love from the people watching at home. You guys remember Mr. Clint Watts? Clint Watts.
What's up, Clint?
Clint Watts. He says he loves this, and amazing job, you guys. Thanks to us, you all, and also Miss Crystal Straube Cordova. Remember her?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Guys, we have somebody else on board that wants to chime in. Thank you for sharing, Tommy. Stay
yes,
on
sir,
board.
Thanks.
Stay on the couch. Stay on the couch. Don't go anywhere. Let's see here. We have another seaman. Another seaman. Yes, another seaman. Give me a little bit of an intro.
There's a joke in that, right? Right, Army dogs?
I'm not going to say anything. And Tommy, I think you know this guy. Know pretty closely.
There was a submarine joke.
Couple stories.
Submarine joke associated with that.
Mr. Chris Bañuelos.
Hey, look, there's the sucker right there. There's the sucker that got that guy promoted. That guy got that guy promoted.
That guy, right? That guy. Yeah, that guy.
Chris probably hates me right now.
He came up to me and he's like, hey, I want to talk to you. I'm like, oh, what's up? Tommy's like, dude, I'm joining the Navy. I'm like, bro, get me out of Taft. Let's do this. So
yeah.
I think him and I actually went to that together because I was 18. So I was able to sign in. And when I came home, Brandon, you know my mom. I came home to my mom and dad. My mom's like, that's not real. I said, yeah, it is. She's like, no, it's not. I go, Mom, it's real. She's like, well, I'm ripping it up. And I was like, please don't rip that up.
It doesn't matter. Chris. The contract is stored at the government site.
Exactly.
Hey, I
maybe I should have been a used car salesman.
I could have. You probably could have been.
I got to tell you, I went to your house, Chris, right before you left. And
yeah,
do you remember, Chef, losing your lunch? Do you remember that moment?
Yeah, I end up when I got to boot camp, I had bronchial pmonia.
Oh.
Yeah, so
I thought you were just nervous. I thought you were just nervous.
No, I was like, what the hell? You know,
I swear that up until now, I thought you were like, wow, he's really nervous.
Yeah, I got to boot camp. I was sick for about 2.5 weeks and still went through.
Whoa.
Wow. So
you were a true warrior then.
Well, I wasn't wanting to come back home. So what we're doing, I mean, it's really cool that Rodney set all this stuff up, and we're actually down here at the Taft Legion today. The guitarist and myself from our band is playing. So we took a breather to come get on this because a lot of these guys on here I love a lot. And Brandon was the first guy I met in high school when I went to Taft. I was sitting behind him. He turned around, tapped my shoulder. He's like, hey, I'm Brandon. I'm like, I'm Chris. He's like, you Bobby's brother? I said, it depends. And he goes, no, he's good. You know, so yeah, Brandon was one of my first friends and we were close. You know, my family thinks of him as another kid. You know, I don't know if it's because he was eating all our food all the time or just because we hung out, you know, and Rodney too was another one. And then Tommy, you know, and then I met Jeff later on and, you know, it's just great seeing all you guys do this and it's a lot of love, you know, and yeah, we had fun. And, but when Tommy and I got on that plane to fly to Great Mistakes, that was the last time we saw each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
He went to one company, I went to another. So
have you guys kept in contact?
Oh yeah, we see each other a while. Every once in a while, I'll see him, you know, and you know.
In fact, I'm going to go see him here in a little bit. I'm going to go to the American Legion here in a bit. So.
Yeah, we're getting ready to do another hour.
You're playing at the American Legion tonight?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're playing outside right now. So I took a break to talk to you guys, and been doing the band thing for about 7 years, and just like being local famous.
That's so what type of what's the genre? What do you play? And
everything. We play from the 50s to now. We have about 15 of our own songs that the guitarist and I have written. So yeah, we play rock, pop, country. You know, we even do Tone Loc.
Oh yeah. You might have to close this out on a little Tone Loc.
You can't funk around with the funky Cold Medina. You know what I'm saying? That's what hey, but so, yeah, Tommy talked to me about it when we were in high school, and I was like, dude, I can go sign right now. He's like, I'm only 17. I'm like, I'm 18. And my parents really can't say nothing. But, you know, what was really cool is when I came back, I pulled my dad aside and I handed him an envelope. And he's like, what's that? I said, that's all the money you saved for me to go to college, buy mom a house. So that house that was out in Dustin Acres, I put down for my parents.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
I didn't. Well, I wasn't going to use it. You know what I mean? But I should have done was took my boys out and had a couple beers before we left. But you know, it was cool having all my extended family there when I was leaving. And yeah, Rod's right. About mid through there, I was like, I'm not feeling too hot.
I could have swore I thought you were just extremely nervous.
You know, I thought it was, but then like 3 or 4 days into it, I'm like, something ain't right. And I went to the medical and they told me, yeah, you got bronchial pneumonia. So what do you want to do? I was like, keep going. I'm not going to get cycled back. So,
Hey,
but yeah,
so
Brandon, you saying at least it was summer there? Tommy, you want to explain to him the summers in Chicago?
Oh man, it's crazy over there.
Horrible.
Yeah.
We'd have days where it'd be like 85, right? And we're like 85.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, 95% humidity. Oh, okay, so yeah, we're not.
Yeah,
going
well, I think it's better than
crazy,
being
yeah.
in frozen tundra, right?
I've done both. You know, I was lucky enough to go around the world on the ships I was on because I was a Navy diver. So I went on different ships and we went from, you know.
So talk to us a little bit about what you did. What you talked
when I
about
first
being a
went
Navy
in-
diver? What was
Yeah,
it?
when I first went in, I went in as a bosun mate. And so I wanted to do swimming. So I got hooked up with a Navy diver for salvage, but then I also did what's called SAR swimming, which is search and rescue. So every ship we were on, we had to set our stuff up that was close to where we could, get dressed and dive right now. And that was kind of cool. And, you know, so I broke my knee and then that's how I ended up getting out.
Gotcha.
It
Wow.
seems like injuries are always
Dude, it's the number one thing,
big
man. I had a buddy though. We went in together, boot camp. We met, you know, at boot
Not
camp.
Tommy.
No, Tommy wasn't a buddy. He got me in.
Yeah.
No, I met this guy.
Hey, I may not go to the American Legion. He might whip my ass.
I think I got a big old hug.
Just leave before his last set. Huh?
We met, became good friends. We ended up going to dive school together and everything. And then when we got done, he got put on a different ship and he stayed in dry dock for 10 years.
What?
His ship never got out in the water.
Yeah, that's welcome to the Army life.
Yeah, he'd write me. He's like, "Where are you at?"
We didn't go to the water, did we, Jeff?
No.
No water time for you, right?
No, a lot of airtime.
Yeah.
So, we're getting ready to start again, but I just want to get on and say thank you guys all for doing this. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for your service. I don't care what branch you're in. You know, we all serve one nation, you know, and I've been privileged enough that I was able to do that.
Absolutely, man.
Hey, so
go
since there's three Army guys and 2 Navy guys, I'm gonna say go Army, screw Navy.
Remember my mom cooking you homemade food?
Never. Yeah, your mom never.
Oh, no, she's right here. You want to go tell her?
Can I say
don't do that.
Can I say that I had menudo at your place?
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
I did have the menudo, and
Yeah, he looked at me. He goes, "What is that?" And I said, "You got to eat it, Rodney. I can't tell you what's in it."
Yeah. You told me
Because if
like
I tell you what's in it, you're not going to eat it.
You know,
Yeah, not till afterwards.
What?
It's still a staple in my house. I still make it.
I'm like, I kind of like pig intestines.
Yeah, that's great. And that's what I tell my kids. They're like, "Can I have some?" You know, that's made out of pig guts. They're like, "I don't want no more." I'm like, "Yeah." It's all of it. So yeah, we're getting ready to jam again. So once again, thanks guys. I love you all. Thank you for your service, and proud to be in the military family with you guys. So much love,
brother.
Really, Chris.
Take
Jam.
care and
Thanks,
have a
buddy.
good
Hey.
set.
All right,
Jam
brother.
on,
We'll see
brother.
you guys
guys
later.
stop
Tommy, I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay.
All right, Tom.
Good to see you, man. I got to tell you, the first time I saw Chris was on the dance floor at one of those little dances after the football games, and he was with do you remember Dusty? Oh, I'm trying to think. He called him Vanilla Ice. Do you remember? You know what I'm talking about? He had like a duo with Dusty, and they both had their overalls busting moves on the dance floor. I was going to ask him about that, but he had to go.
Oh, with the one overall strap hanging down, right?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
it. Oh, Belle Biv DeVoe action. That was awesome. Well, folks, we have somebody, another Navy seaman. What? We have somebody in our lounge, guys. This guy.
That's a joke for the submarine. What's long, black, and hard and full of semen? A submarine.
Oh boy, oh boy. Okay, here we go, guys. Let's keep the show rolling. Let's give them a little bit of an intro music here. If we will go that way. You know, I got the sound though. Hold on a second. Here we go. Here we go. There it is. Folks, 20 years in the military, US Navy. Right. Officer first class. Hospital. We have a lot to talk about with this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rick Vaughn.
Yeah.
Rick, let me cut the tune.
What's up? What's up?
How are you, brother? Yes.
I'm good, man. Doing good. How you doing, Rod?
I gotta
How's
tell
everybody?
you, thank you for your patience, man. I know.
I've just been enjoying listening to everybody's story.
Yeah. You know how much I just want to just blast everyone on the screen at the same time and just see what happens. But I was talking to Brandon. I go, I think we just need to inch them forward because once we have everyone on, it's going to be so hard to collect everyone's info and find out about their history. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what they told me in Iraq. The best whore in the whorehouse gets fucked the most. Hoorah.
Catch me off guard with that one. Oh my god.
So some of you got to understand where Ricky's coming from. So hey, good to see you, Rick. It's been a long time, and I'm super stoked to see you.
Absolutely.
You too, man. I'm glad to see you guys. All you guys.
Absolutely. You know, I've read some stuff about your story, and you know, absolutely blown away by some of your honors and everything else. So kudos to you. Thank you for your service.
Oh man,
and,
Absolutely.
So some of the things is kind of funny. So Rick comes out and he tells you that joke, right? That's not a joke that Rick would have said in high school. Ever, right? But what you got to understand is he's a corpsman, right? In the corpsman in the Navy is a
Salty
different
dog.
animal. It's a different animal.
It is.
They spend 100% of their time with the freaking Marines. So he's a Marine infantryman. That's all it is, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, they don't have medics, so they send the corpsmen with the Marines.
Wow.
So
Hey,
You
hey,
don't
guys,
want them. Trust me, you want them on the trigger.
off,
You don't
man.
want them on cutting on people. You want them on the gun.
You gotta go, Tommy. You gotta bounce
I'm
out.
gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I gotta go see Chris in the Legion. So
Actually,
All
I
right.
had some Marines that helped me out that were better than most of my corpsmen.
Thanks for coming, Tommy.
Boom. There you go.
So Ricky, tell us what caused you to join the military, about what time that was, and then just give us a little bit of history.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we got out of high school.
Or should we just watch the documentary? Because you're one of the ones that you actually have a full-on documentary that you're involved with, right?
Oh, that's crazy stuff, man. It's been a wild ride. It's been a good run. Got out of high school, went to TC a couple of years. Then I went to work out at the prison there for a little bit, and then I joined the Navy. It was just right shortly after 9/11 had happened, and it was pretty hot and heavy. I just felt led to do it. You know, there was a lot of factors going on in my life at the time that just kind of pointed me that direction.
So I'm going to pause for a quick second. So you're telling me, so I was talking about being somewhat non-traditional military, joining in. I joined at 21 years old.
Oh yeah.
You joined 10 years.
I was 27. Yeah.
Wow.
Talk about non-traditional.
And I turned 28 in boot camp, and I could still out PT their asses.
Oh, there he is.
Of course, the 19-year-olds, they're tough to keep up with, but I got it.
Half of it's here.
Yeah, for sure. You know it too.
No. So continue on. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh yeah, man. Shoot, I'm easy to talk. I'm easy to talk to. If you guys got questions, just ask or anything like that. I'm not no formal.
So you go off to boot camp and tell us from there.
I went to boot camp, got through that charade. Then I went to Field Medical Service School down at Camp Pendleton. And then shortly after that, I was placed with 1st Marine Division at Camp Pendleton with the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, the Fighting 5th, the Dark Horse. So it was like literally, I was there a week, and then I got my gear and I got my weapons, and I was on a plane to Iraq with the battalion. We went over, we took over Fallujah in 2004. You know what's weird is we left on 9/11 of 2004. Wow. I don't know. I just thought that was weird.
Synchronicity or whatever that's called, right?
Crazy, right? Universe, crazy place. Went to Iraq with those guys for 7 months, came back, trained up some more stuff, went back again for 7 more months. I was with Kilo Company, 2nd Platoon, 3rd Squad through the push. And we just went house to house, you know. We rode track vehicles into the city, kind of softened up one side of the city, and then we entered in, and it was just wild west. It was like there were people really trying to kill me that don't even know me.
Right.
Well, you know what happened to the ocean? I joined the Navy. I'm here in the desert. What?
Dried up on you.
What happened? So, but I had a good time with those guys, man. We had a blast, and we like literally, and we got through that time. It was a pretty wild ride. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of beautiful things too. So it's pretty dynamic. The war zone, you'll have really high highs and really low lows, and you don't have time for any of it. You just got to get through it. That's all. Pretty soon you're like, you could have a slice of pizza with bullets bouncing around. You don't care.
It's like white noise, huh?
Exactly. You don't care. You're so miserable anyways. You guys really don't care if you don't make it or not.
Absolutely.
But we had a good time, man. Came back after my time with 3-5. I went and worked as an EMT in the emergency room at Naval Hospital, Naples, Italy. I lived in Italy for 3 years, and then I became the medical rep on the USS Ford, FFG 54. It was a frigate in Everett, Washington. And so I was stationed there with that, and then we decommissioned the ship when they got rid of all the frigates in the fleet. And then I went and ran a clinic, and then I became a SARP counselor, which is a drug and alcohol counselor.
What pushed you towards the drug and alcohol counseling?
Oh, wow. Personal experience.
No, that's why I want you to talk about it.
Oh yeah. Well, the underlying thing, it's all about addiction, right? The underlying thing with addiction is pain. Sometimes we don't realize how much we're hurting till we get a break from it with the substance. And once we get a break from it, we don't want to come back. Nobody likes feeling like, you know what?
No.
So here we go. And you'll stick to it despite the problems that it causes. And that's where it starts turning ugly. That's where it starts taking things. So
in your journey, when you started the process of your addiction, what point was that? Was that like after Fallujah? Was it in the middle of Fallujah? What was that?
Yeah, it was after that. It started, I kind of boiled the frog with pain. Like I didn't realize a lot of things until it just, there was no getting away from it. just not yourself. Things bother you. You're easily irritated and annoyed. You just really don't have patience for a lot of dumb stuff, and you'll see a lot of dumb stuff. So, yeah, I started with wine in Italy, and then eventually I was to drinking a fifth of bourbon a day. That's not
Sound
good.
familiar? Sound familiar?
Sounds familiar, man.
But yeah. It's not cheap either.
Yeah.
Before I knew it, man, I was on a plane to get some help. So then I did residential for 35 days at Point Loma, San Diego, and then I did 35 days of intensive outpatient care up in Bremerton. And after that, I had to wait a couple years, and then I could join the program. But I knew that's what I wanted to do. I like helping people get their lives back from addictions.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah,
I know,
it's crazy.
In some ways we're diving super deep and super at the heart of some of the stuff. But I think it's super important because, to be honest with you, it's part of which is unfortunate, but it's a part of military life.
Yeah, it's just life. It shits on everybody. Nobody likes feeling like shit. So you try to self-soothe some of that stuff, and then before you know it, you got a monkey on your back you got to take care of. And if you don't, you'll just lose everything to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way and it does it every time. It's nothing personal. It's just what it does. It's just what it does.
I love that, that there's no judgment amongst all of us. Like, when it comes to the military, we got a special bond. And no matter you spend 30 days in or 30 years in, it doesn't matter. We've all been through some stuff, and we've experienced things, and we have that. It's kind of I always talk about I coached wrestling for about 12 years. I just recently quit a few years back. But wrestlers have that same similar bond, right?
Absolutely.
You go through the grind of super difficult moments. The military is totally different. I'm not trying to compare sports to the military, but it's a lot of people can relate to sports, right? You endure some super heavy, hard, difficult moments. Now take that as in athletics and multiply it by 20, 30 times. And that's the things that you've experienced in the military. And I did not experience anything that my directions are off these guys over here experience, right? And so, but I still feel like I have this connection with all.
Hey, if you served, you served. Yeah, if you went, you went. That's all. Nobody can do what they do if you're not doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Doesn't matter.
So,
the closest I got to serving was doing a fitness boot camp back in the day, and we work with. I have a quick picture to show you guys.
He wore that camouflage hat when.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool, man. Yeah, and I dig the background too. Yeah.
So we took that shot. These were my trainers that I ended up. They were leading their own cities. But there's my little crew, and
sorry, dogs are barking.
That's as close as I get to doing the military. My dad does also my stepdad has served time in the military as well. He was a Marine. Boom! There's Pops.
Yeah, hoorah!
Shout
they
out!
They just had a birthday. Happy birthday to the Marines out there.
Yesterday, right?
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. Hey. I mean, I know we're on a little bit of a heavier note here, and so
okay.
I'm going to
don't mind
right
it all. Don't mind it all. Jump on in. The water's just fine.
That's right. So here's something super heavy that I know especially John, because you have a tattoo on your arm.
Yeah,
and you don't have to talk about it. I'll say a couple words. I don't know the men that are on there or women, if there are women on there. But he's got a tattoo on his arm that has dog tags, and it represents There it
Yeah,
is.
I
Right
know
there.
what that is. Yep.
Right. That represents people, right?
Yeah.
Blood, family, friends, and I know that probably most of you guys have lost people that you were personal with, and I don't have that on the military side of things. But I just want to say, you know, that one of the things being in the military, we have to continue to honor those folks. Because,
Absolutely.
yeah, because that's the reason that we all have the freedoms that we have, and every single one of you putting your ass out there, and then those people, like on John's arm, those names are not just names. They are people. They are individuals. They are people who put their ass out.
That's right.
In order to continue on to be
in between the flag and the dog tags. The dog tags are all people that I either treated directly that didn't make it, or people down the line. I have one that was a suicide.
Yeah.
He's my driver in Kosovo.
Yep. Okay.
One of them, I mean, to tell you, and in between the American
Oh,
flag
Kosovo. Wow.
and the dog tags, it says remember. They don't die.
That's right.
As long as you remember. But one guy, the one that hits the hardest was a guy named Jared Monty. I served with him in Kosovo. He was our fire support NCO. Relatively quiet guy, super intelligent. He liked to drink. He liked to drink so much that he drank 27 near beers and gave himself electrolyte imbalance, and his kidneys almost shut down, dude. I had to pump it. I had to make him eat a bunch of salt packets.
Shoot, my kidneys almost shut down just now. That's a whole lot.
This dude sat there. I mean, he was actually writhing in pain. His kidneys were shutting down in the middle of nowhere. But
he was tenacious, baby.
He's a Medal of Honor recipient.
Yeah, wow.
And the way that I found out posthumously, in 2009, I was, like I said, I told y'all I was an advisor to the Iraqi Army, so I would live with them for 2 weeks because they only work 2 weeks. So they come in and do Army shit for 2 weeks, and then they leave and they go back to their normal jobs. They run stores and run farms or whatever, and then they come back 2 weeks later. We go back with them and train them. But we took a break and went to a place called Kalsu, which is right in the middle of Iraq. It's a big resupply hub, PX, the big land of the PX, like, because we lived on a little small base. And we had a trailer, but this place
everybody's always glad to see the PX, man.
A Burger King and a Green Bean, and I'm friggin' sitting there and
I'm getting flashes.
I mean, I had problems sleeping, so we had an 11-man team. So one of the guys was like, "Hey,
nice squad."
He goes, "Man, you ought to start drinking what is it? Warm milk, man. They take the milk and they just like they do for a latte or something, and it's hot milk is what it is, and it really helps." So one day, I'm in there having one of my hot steamed milks, and I pick up a Stars and Stripes, and it said Monty to receive the Medal of Honor, and had his picture. And I'm like,
"Wow,
what?" And it was 2009, bro. The dude died in 2006 on a mountain.
Yeah. It takes a while.
Trying to retrieve one of his soldiers. It's kind of like us. We ain't talked, and Brandon ain't talked to you since 1991.
Right.
But I served 82nd Airborne with this guy in 99 through 2001. And I hadn't talked to that guy in shit since I left 82nd. But you know, the memories I made in a little house in a town called Pogorce, Kosovo, and essentially saving his life because he's an alcoholic and he was trying to make up for it with near beer. But and that's my memory. But
a lot of pain there.
Profound things is knowing someone who received the Medal of Honor and what he received it for, but having served with him, not thinking he was a guy. He wasn't some big hulked up, juiced up, super soldier. He was a very humble. His dad was a high school chemistry teacher, very intellectual guy. Not somebody that I see receiving the Medal of Honor, doing what he did to receive it. That's incredible amount of character
Yeah.
that I never saw. Again, books and covers are really a strange statement to me now.
Yeah. You know, I'll tell you a kind of a small little story of my time in the military. One of the things as an explosive ordnance disposal technician, one of the things we did is we provided support to foreign dignitaries, the president, vice president, things like that. So anywhere that they traveled, they would send EOD techs, and we did the search or function type design where we would be looking through the areas that they're going to be, and either we find something or we make it go off before they show up. One of the events was President Clinton, who was the president at the time, and one of the events was in Arkansas, and I got deployed out to this event in support of the Secret Service, and the event happened to be an annual gathering of Medal of Honor recipients.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, one of the craziest experiences of my life was being in a room with, I don't know how many were actually there, but it felt like that they were all 8 foot tall and built like a brick shit house, right? I mean, these were men who have done extraordinary tasks in their life and survived. I mean, there's a ton of men out there who have received the Medal of Honor, who have done extraordinary things and didn't make it out. And that part of the reason that they received these awards was because they risked their own life.
They usually is posthumous.
Right.
Yeah.
And but these were all living recipients.
Wow.
And I walk into this room, and normally, normally in this kind of a role, you come in, you take care of business, and then you kind of step off to the side and you don't see the event occur. But because we were military, they actually invited us to hang around on the outskirts. They didn't want us in the middle, obviously, but what an amazing moment that I'll never forget, to be standing in a room and seeing all of these guys together with their annual picture of, gathering of everybody in line with this giant photograph of all these men who, and I don't know each and every one of their stories, obviously, but you can only imagine the things that they saw, the things that they did, and the things that they went through, and come out on the other side. Yeah. And then the other part of it was I got a chance to speak to a couple of them, and how humble. Man, I'm telling you, these guys they're people who did extraordinary things, but when you ask, or even just looking upon them, there's this sense of awe. Yeah. And they're looking back at you like, why are you looking at me like that?
I mean, I went to one in Maryland, same thing, when I was on active duty, and I actually got to mingle around and hang out with them, and so humble.
Oh, you one-upped me. You one-upped me.
I did, and I actually got to hang out with them. And those old bastards can drink, dude. Like, because they're all pretty old. I mean, we got a few new ones like Marcus Luttrell and some of the other guys, and Dakota Myers. But most of them guys are aged a little bit, and these guys they'll drink you under the table, man. I mean, and they start drinking. For show. But I'm talking humble, man. Just they did extraordinary things, and they lived through extraordinary events that a lot of people didn't make it out of, and they are very humble and very blessed to have long lives, and they know it.
Yeah.
I did have an opportunity to actually do some mingling, and it was an extraordinary event. Brought me to tears.
Oh yeah, multiple times, right?
Yeah.
Because
I mean, you just hear these stories, and the wars of today. I mean, Fallujah was a tough battle. I didn't go to Fallujah, but I battled in El Samwa and Sadr City. And they were tough, but it wasn't nothing like those cats back then were fighting, man. I mean, you were a corpsman attacking beachheads. Look, man, I'm talking getting out of a landing craft with machine gun fire. Bullets are bullets, but what those folks did, some of those World War II, even the Korean Medal of Honor recipients who don't get recognized, dude. It's just
Hey, don't belittle the things that you guys did. That's that's what we do, right? As military guys, we feel like, yeah, we didn't do anything any other person wouldn't have done. I'm no more special than anyone else. Don't belittle what you did. Recognize it, appreciate it, and
I agree, Brandon. I didn't realize my father we didn't kind of get into it when I did my introduction. I was kind of discombobulated because I'm pissed off because I got a surround sound that went out. So I've already got my mind distracted. I'm about to throw this fucking thing through the window. But now I got a drink in me. I'm like, this shit's going out the window.
It was the bourbon.
But man, I was sitting with my dad on his last birthday before he passed. And my dad was a Vietnam vet. He was a Green Beret. I mean, the dude, and he never talked about any of it until I had gone to war. You know, a couple of times he had actually sat down and talked to me. You could tell my soul was hurting. And his last birthday, he didn't raise me. My stepfather did. That's what brought me to Taft. My stepfather was an old guy. Because I was only in Taft about 2 years. I sat down with my dad. We cooked a gumbo down in South Louisiana in his outdoor kitchen.
Yum.
And we're sitting there bullshitting. And by the time he was in a wheelchair in pretty bad shape. And we didn't know I didn't know he was going to die that spring, but I went and saw him. His birthday was hard to go to. It was 29 December. And it was in between Christmas and New Year's. And when you got kids and you're, mid-range income, it's kind of hard to break away after Christmas. But something told me to go hang out. That's the first time my dad ever, because you were saying, y'all were all saying, my mom didn't want me to join. My mom didn't either. And my dad definitely, the last thing he wanted to do was, 1, join the Army. 2, go in any kind of special operations, become a Ranger, jump out of airplanes. He definitely didn't want that crap. First time he ever said he was proud of me, I said, well, for what? He said, son, you invaded 3 countries. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, you invaded Kosovo in 1999. You were in Afghanistan before the invasion in 2001, and you invaded Iraq in 2003. He's like, in 5 years, he said, really a rare company, because he said World War II veterans, maybe Korean War veterans, maybe. An initial enlistee is invade 3 countries. Yeah. I'm like, shit, Dad. I said, that shit is not a big fucking deal. I said, that is not a big deal at all. I said, we just go do our job, man. I said, it happenstance puts you in the situations you're in. And it was all a free choice. You know, I volunteered and kept staying in. I said, everybody I serve with are the best people in the world, man. I said, I've never had friends better than the friends I have in the military. I mean, I'm having a birthday party here at the
Instant
house.
family.
It is. They're family, man. I got people that are traveling. I mean, it's only my 49th birthday, but I kind of put it out there to a few people. I got people traveling from the East Coast to come to my 49th birthday just to eat the food I cook, man. I mean, we're about to friggin' queue. Well, I was going to do a barbecue, but it got cold, so we're about to do a gumbo. But
where you live at?
I'm down in San Antonio, man. Y'all come on, get on a plane, bro. I'll make a bigger gumbo. It ain't no big deal.
Hey, one of these days, San Antonio's on my list of places I want to go, and when I come, I'm coming to see you, brother.
Dude, I got like a 5-bedroom house here, man. All my kids are grown. You're welcome to friggin' come and hang out, man, and we'll cook. You got a deal. You got a deal. Come on, man. Any one of y'all jump on a plane and come on, man.
Shit, don't threaten me with a good time. Let's go.
That's right. I'm just saying, man.
Let's go.
It don't take nothing for me to pull somebody in and cook and drink a little bit. You guys are veterans. Y'all are welcome my house any day, man.
There you go.
Same here.
But I figured I'd tell that story, man, because it's humbling, man. My life. I'd say if people who on externally people wouldn't say I'm humble, but my life has been humbled a lot. It's been dumbed down a lot to sheer appreciation for it, and appreciation for you guys, bro.
That's great.
Service and selfless service at that is very unique in this world. This society is very self-centered.
Yes.
Yep.
And takes a minute to learn how to live life on life's terms.
That's right. And Rod, thanks for putting this together, man. You didn't serve, man, but you know what you are? You're serving right
Absolutely,
now,
man.
bro. You're
This is my
serving.
thank you. This is my serving.
No,
Huh?
absolutely.
I guess we all play their own role in our own way, and then my
Yes, sir.
role was.
That's right.
This is my role. Wow. I have somebody in our lounge. Oh, you guys gonna wait for this one. Oh my gosh, this is gonna.
Good.
This is always an interesting conversation when this gentleman comes on board. Oh boy, this is. I thought this
Oh,
would
boy.
be fun. I thought this would be
Oh, boy.
fun today, but it just got a little bit more fun, folks.
I love the music.
Did you like the music?
Yeah,
I'll figure that out.
that's classy, man. Dig it.
We have another seaman. Oh, he popped his head away. I think he's on location. I'm not sure on how his internet's going to be. We have a dirty bird. Oh,
The spiral of death. Oh my God, Jerry Byrd.
Mr. Jerry Byrd. I got to tell you, I can really recognize
What's going on, guys?
That beard's
Oh,
making
What's
me
up, Jerry?
What's up, Jerry? How are you,
Oh,
sir?
Jerry.
What's going on, man? How you guys doing?
U.S.
Going on?
Army. My apologies. What's up,
Hey,
brother?
Jerry, just for you guys that don't know, Jerry's out on an elk hunt, I believe.
Hey, this thing is kind of weak and slow, man. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'm out in the middle of the woods, man. I'm on a hunt right now.
Yeah. Talking about.
Nice.
And Jerry
All right.
promised to send me some elk jerky.
We're gonna
I
scare
mean-
everything away.
9 years served. Mr. Jerry Byrd.
Hey, hanging out here in the middle of freaking Delta Junction, man, in Alaska, and like 0-degree weather. It's ridiculous.
Ooh, shoot. You ain't
better bring a
playing.
big gun with you. Good to see you, Jerry.
Grab another drink here.
Hey, so
I-
Jerry, when did you go in?
I'll answer for you, Jerry. You went into 92, right, Jerry? Oh, there you go. Get in the car. Get in the car.
Say again?
We,
When
Brent,
did you go? When did you go in?
tell us about yourself, sir.
I left in October of 92, right after I graduated.
And then you retired last year, right?
I did.
Nice.
October of last year. So I did
29 years.
I did
That's
29
amazing.
years.
Damn.
Good Lord.
Oh, 29 years. That's amazing.
The powerhouse is in the room.
Thank you for your service, Jerry. You're amazing, man.
Hey, that's only because Jeff didn't do it. You know what I'm saying?
That's the longest stint.
And so,
Not all of us can do 29 years.
And you did everything. Didn't you say
yeah.
you did everything, Jerry, right? Like almost all the positions.
Yeah, so I joined
There you go.
as a 11 Bravo, and I basically held every job you could do, you know, from being a young soldier all the way up to being the old guy that, you know, had to sit behind a desk for a while.
So for those of you who don't know, 11 Bravo is infantryman in the United States Army. And Jerry has 29 years in. I believe he retired as was it a command sergeant major?
Oh, man, you found a picture. I
Yeah.
retired as a sergeant major. I did.
I got a golden shovel, Jerry. I dug this
Wow.
one for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was me sitting on a C-130 before we did an airborne operation one time at Fort Bragg.
I have a question for you, Jerry. Is that snow in your beard, sir? Is that snow, or you got a little salt in your beard? What
That's
is it?
Cammy.
That's being old, and I'm trying to be Santa Claus for Christmas.
I thought it was snow. I'll go
You
with
out there trying to get your reindeer together.
Yeah. You're trying to camouflage yourself within the snow. Is that what you're doing?
His snow cam game is on point.
Love it.
So how are you been, man? I ain't seen most of y'all since like the 10-year reunion, and I seen Jeff a couple of times before. When I came home on leave, we actually linked up twice while he was still in years ago.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I don't know where the time goes, but it goes.
I think Jerry retired as a sergeant major, and he has a permanent DSN line.
He's like a general. They still call him. They call him in times of war.
Yeah, right. Right. He's got that 15
He's a
5-star.
No, I'm too old, fat, and lazy anymore to be doing that stuff.
Hey, you earned it. That's all good.
Well, you're still hunting, so there you go. See, you're not out yet.
Nothing to see here, Jerry. We're just all older, fatter, and uglier, and that's all.
Hey, speak for yourself, Rick. I'm pretty handsome.
I'm in my prime.
Yeah, this is prime time.
I'm in my prime, gentlemen.
Hey, I feel it, but my mind thinks I'm 20, but my body lets me know I can't do that shit anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Jerry, give us a little bit of your history, man, about the time served and your situation. I mean, you've gone through so much, man. 29 years. That's crazy.
Ooh, it's a long one.
Well, I mean, just like most of us, we all went in pretty much after the fact, graduate, whether you went to college first or joined. But I left. I mean, everybody had their own little different situations, but Jeff probably remembers Pedro more than most of y'all. Pedro Vargas.
Yeah.
I used to run around with him a lot, and we kind of got in trouble a little bit. And I was like, I'm kind of leaving here. I'm getting out of Taft. I joined the Army and left. And honestly, I only planned on doing a couple years and getting out. And I ended up going to Ranger School and got kicked out. Or failed out of Ranger School the first time, the first 4 years I was in. And I was like, I need to finish this. So I re-enlisted and went back to school. And then ended up re-enlisting again. I don't know, the mid-90s, late 90s kind of deal. Ended up going to Korea for a year. And then, of course, we all know September 11th happened. And, I've been in now.
Oh, no.
Korea is beautiful.
But shot an elk.
Ricky with the positive thoughts.
Korea, I'm telling you, it's a really beautiful place.
Hey, it's
is, like,
man.
Positive aspirations by Ricky Vaughn.
I had a good time. I had a good time in Korea, man.
Right.
Yeah, man. Hey, that's a good time.
I have a special guest that's trying to pop on. Oh, he did pop on. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna like this one. Hopefully, Jerry comes back. Is he on? There he is. Oh wait, maybe he did come back. Oh, Jerry's back. Here we go. He's alive. There he is. He's back.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, gentlemen, I'm going to pop out because I want to keep it to 6 people on today, and I have one more person that wants to pop in, and I'm going to hand the microphone over to Brandon to ask the questions, and you guys can go ahead and chill with this guy. Let's give a little bit of an intro. And I'm sure we have a lot more to talk about, guys. I just want to play the music. I like the music.
There you go, Brandon. Brandon can play it.
I'm going to pull myself out of here. Welcome on board from U.S. Army, Mr. Lance Wade. What's up?
My brother from another mother.
What's happening?
What's up, Wade?
I'm going to let you guys all chat. You guys, Wade, welcome to the team. Boom.
Can you hear me all right?
Hear you.
Yeah, I got a little bit of reverb action there.
Here, I'll pop out. Maybe it'll get better. Oh,
Is somebody
good to see you,
somebody
Wade.
got their cell phone on too or something?
No, I'm doing off my cell. I'll try to pop on from the computer, but Rod's been up my ass all day about getting on here, so I told him I would.
I'm back. Jerry's in the hills and the mountains.
Jerry's struggling looking for an elk.
Yeah, if he comes back, I'll pop him on. So yeah, thanks for showing, Wade.
I'm gonna try to pop on.
He's gonna try to get on his computer, Rod.
Yeah, it's on my phone.
Are you coming back?
Yeah, I will. How's it going?
Good, man. Good. How's it going?
I said that you were giving me shit all day because I didn't get on.
Well, it wasn't all day. It's like the majority of the day. You know.
Most of it, yeah.
We got to bring in the quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. That was 30 years ago. You know that, right?
Once a QB, always a QB.
Yeah, once our QB, always our QB.
Wade came on Memorial Day 2020. Give us his history. Wade, do you want to give us a little bit of a brief rundown of your experience?
I guess. So I joined right out of school. So I actually joined February of our senior year. And it wasn't because I had a desire to serve. I just the recruiter just he laid it down so nicely that I couldn't say no.
Boondoggle.
Yeah. So I joined February of our senior year, and then I left for basic September. So I spent the summer back in Taft, and then I left in September and never went back. So my active duty, I was just petroleum supply, but I mainly went in for college money. So I got.
So tell us what petroleum supply was.
I'm gonna pop out. Let Jerry Byrd jump back in, guys. Go ahead, continue, Wade.
Mainly it was just refuel, bulk storage, all that. But the unit I went to was all airfields. So I did a lot of field work with refuel and helicopters. So I was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. So no sooner did I go through and get to my permanent duty station that I got shipped off to Somalia in 93. So my first month there, we refueled all the United Nations aircraft, and then from there I got recruited to go over to work with the civilians, the Brown and Root civilians. So we did all of personal security. So they went from base to base, all through Somalia. So that was kind of, I do have one cool story. You guys that have served with you really enjoyed it, but I just go, guys. This past weekend, I was in Arizona to the Seahawks Cardinals game, and I got to hang with my battle buddy. And we're both 18. We met in basic, but we went to basic, AIT. We were roommates. We went to Somalia together. We went to Guantanamo Bay together. We grew up in the military. So he's the closest thing I have. As a brother, I guess, as you could even say. And he only lives a few hours away. So now we see each other probably once a quarter.
That's awesome.
The main thing, I guess, my service, I saw a lot of shit in Somalia. But being 19, it was cool. It was fun, right? There's no way in hell I would do it nowadays, but I had a lot of fun, and we were there right as, I left probably 2 weeks after, if you've seen the movie Black Hawk Down, we left like 2 weeks after that to come home. And, you don't think it's that big of a deal until, I guess they make a movie of it. And, I've been watching the video here, so I've been watching you guys for a while, and the words of humble and all that come up and saying, I didn't do anything that nobody else would have done. And that's kind of how I look at it, right? It was, I knew what I signed up for. And I think, if I hadn't had such solid role models, I guess you could say, in my life prior to going in, not having that structure, I don't know if it would have been such a great experience, but I think I was prepared. And I'll say this, one of the toughest men that I had in my life going through school was Coach Larry Brown, right? So if you can deal with Coach Brown, the military, going through basic and the physical PT, that was nothing compared to double days with Coach Brown. So
that's the truth.
And then in 95, I did a short deployment to Guantanamo Bay when all the Cubans and Haitians were migrating to the US. And I think that was probably my most fun I think I had, because I just drove for a full board colonel living in paradise. And I was at the beach every day. Like, it was, I got handpicked to go down. So my whole unit stayed back. And then the unit I was attached to was out of Fort Lewis, Washington. My unit came down to replace them. So I was having so much fun that when my time was up after 6 months, I asked the colonel if I could just stay. And he said, there ain't no way in hell, Smith, you're going home with me. So it kind of sucked that all my boys were back in the States when I was in Cuba, and then we swapped spots. So that sucked a little bit, but oh yeah, there we go. Look at that. That was right back at Mogadishu.
Yeah. Say with UN parade, right?
Yeah. We're all part of the UN for that. That was rocking the corn.
Hey, so you were mentioning Coach Brown, and I was working trying to get him to come on. One of the things that we all have in common is each and every single one of us signed up at our own free will, and the generation before us was a little bit different. And I actually reached out to Woody, Coach Woodson, as well as Coach Brown, to try to get them to come on. Woody was a Navy veteran, and we didn't get a picture from him. He said he was going to send it, but he didn't come through on it. But Coach Brown sent his photo in, which you saw just a little bit ago. I want to read a short little message that he sent me in a text, and it says, hey, Brandon, it's so super good to hear from you. I was 24 years old and enjoying my first year of teaching when I was drafted. And that's the difference that generation had versus us, is that they were it wasn't by their choosing. I mean, I guess in some ways it was, because they could have fled the country, right? Some people did.
Right.
But they answered that call. The call was made. They answered the call, and he was drafted on November 21st, which I didn't tell Coach Brown, but my birthday is November 21st, so it kind of hit me right in the soft spot. But he was drafted, and on November 21st of 1968, he said, I was discharged in November of 1970. So he spent 2 years. He was at the 3rd of the 38th Artillery Command, which was an artillery and missiles command. He achieved the rank of E5 sergeant, and he appreciates what we were all doing and honoring those who are willing to give what it takes. He also wanted to mention that he has a shrine or a memorial to a lot of Taft Union High School graduates in his garage. And part of that is a bunch of Vietnam veterans who passed away or were killed in the line of duty over in Vietnam. And they're all Taft High grads. And he's got a picture, a mural up on his garage wall of all of those veterans who were killed in the line of duty, as well as a bunch of other people who served in the military during Vietnam, all the way up through Iraq and Afghanistan. So, Larry's one of those guys, Mr. Brown, Coach Brown, however you want to call him. I always call him Larry. He's one of those guys who is who also, in my life, also, Wade, has an indelible mark that can never be removed. Super good guy who would do nothing but put you through the toughest regiment in order to make you a better person. So,
you hit it the nail on the head, right? It's kind of like my dad was a hard ass, but he comes from love, right? And your dad your dad could be a hard ass too, but it comes from love, right? And that's exactly where Coach Brown was too, is, that tough love. And I think that truly, if I hadn't had that experience and going in the military, it might have been a little bit different. But, having that conditioning and that mental conditioning going in the Army, to me, it was kind of easy, right? It didn't get hard until, you're in the shit. Once you're in the shit, that's when it becomes real, right? But the rest of it was pretty easy. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I always look back on my time as, and I think this is for everyone, for most things, we tend to remember the positive moments and then laugh at the hard times.
I think the one thing that all of us have gone through, and even even those that may not have deployed, you get a mental toughness that when life throws you curveballs, it's like, I tell it now as I'm a leader within my civilian life, right? Is I always liken and tell people that when they ask me about my service, I say I'm not military to be militant. I'm military because of the camaraderie and the team. There's no greater team than the United States military. Wow. There is no greater team. And knowing that everybody has a role, it's a process, and, you can correlate it directly to team sports because, in team sports, somebody gets hurt, you drag them off the field and you keep playing, right? It's the next person up. And the military is no different. No. And in being able to correlate that, I think, with my personal life experience as far as, the loss and the amount of loss that I've experienced as an individual, I would not be able to have dealt with it if I don't think I had went through everything I went through from the military, ever. There's just no way. So
it's one of those super extraordinary how, whether you're religious or not, your life prepares you for the next stage. And without our experiences, we would never be able to reach through and climb that next incline to overcome the next obstacle that's facing us. So it's just looking back, there's a lot of life lessons that we've learned, and I don't know where I'm going with this, but
no, I hear you.
I feel you deal you on that.
Yeah. There was one thing I did want to add before, I get off, and I don't know if you had talked about it earlier, but I want to touch on something you and I talked about when you guys called me during the reunion. And hopefully when Rod posts the video, it's to all the veterans that are going to be watching. Make sure, if you have not taken the time to submit for your compensation for disability to do it. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. You know, my recent story is I waited 25 years before I did. And because I felt I wasn't deserving. That was kind of my mentality, right? People had suffered more than me. And my neighbor is retired Air Force, Purple Heart guy, but he's a raider for the VA. And he all but filled out my paperwork for me and just told me to get off my ass and sign the documents and send it in. And I'm very grateful he did, you know. The biggest part, I think, is because at least I know as I grow older that I won't, you know, I'll have the benefit of being 100% covered by the VA and not be so much of a burden on my family as my old ass gets older. Because I can tell you what, you know, your smart comment about the quarterback is, hey, I can still run and throw, but it takes me about a month to recover afterwards. So having that VA disability and, you know, the extra cash is great too, but it's not about the money. It's about having that protection. Absolutely. You know, I mean, the last thing I want to do is be a detriment to my family because of my choices, right? You know, my wife is older than I am, and if you've seen pictures on my Facebook, you wouldn't know it. But I always tell her, I said, honey, it's not the age, it's the miles. And I've put a hell of a lot more miles on my body than she has. So
Oh yeah, I'll agree to that.
Got to take care of you, dude.
Hey,
yeah.
John, if Rodney's in the background here, John's audio is not working. John, did you check to see if you're muted or not?
I was muted. Damn it.
Ah, there you go. I saw your lips moving, nothing coming out, just like a normal first sergeant.
My wife was blowing my stuff up, man. It must have muted me like automatically. But to add to what you were saying, man, that VA compensation. If anybody's on here listening and you're looking to do it. One, do it. But I'm Brandon. If you got Brandon on your Facebook, reach out to me. I can coach you through the process and what they're looking for. I had a good physician assistant that worked for me right before I retired that coached me through that process. And it's much harder. I would say, you probably say it's much harder down the line if you wait 25 years to do it than if you do it coming straight out. But I coached my father through it. My father was a Vietnam vet, Agent Orange, crippling arthritis, had cancer, and I coached my dad into 100% eventually and helped him file his paperwork. So if any of you guys online that are listening to this, you need help, get on Brandon, hit me up on Facebook, and I'll give you my phone number. I can coach you through the process. I'm very familiar with it. I worked with the Army Health System I still work with the Army Health System with the government. So, and I have a guy that was retired Special Forces. He specialized in helping with VA compensation. So I can get you in contact.
I may be reaching out to you, John. I've gone through the process and got denied and never appealed it. And Wade over on that far side.
Yeah.
He was chewing my ear and chewing my ass a little bit about not following through and making sure that I followed up.
Well, and there's a point where you may have to retain an attorney, and they don't charge you anything up front. They charge you like 20% after you get all your back pay. So it costs you nothing out of pocket. And there's a ton of them that are out there to help you get through the process because it'll go through a judge. Once the VA keeps denying you, it'll go to a judge, and the judge will be like, no, you're going to pay him. And they always do that for veterans. I don't care where you're at. They'll pay you. Again, don't stop
one
fighting
thing
them,
one thing I'll add on that is one of the reasons that I even attempted to was if you're a California veteran, if you were went into the military as a California resident, if you come out of the military back to California and you get a rating of 0, meaning you have 0 disability, but they claim that you have been rated, your children get to go to California State, either university, UC, or community college, tuition free. And that's why I first started looking into it, was when my son, who's now graduated from college, was going in, and my daughter is now a senior in college. So that benefit is no longer beneficial for me, because I've paid for it. But I think in the long term, the biggest thing is my hearing, because I did have some hearing injuries while I was in, blowing things up and all of that. I know at some point that I'm going to need hearing aids, and what better place to have them done than at the VA with some of the best.
Well, we ain't just talking about your hearing aids, man. If your shoulder hurts, your neck, anything like that, man, and it was hurting before you got out, you claim all of that, man. You let the judge decide on whether he or she thinks that that's where it happened. Let the cards fall where they may. Deal is, you served, man. You serve and you deserve. And there's a difference. Not entitled, you deserve. Okay? There are a bunch of people collecting a bunch of money for doing absolutely jack and shit in this world. Okay? All of you that are listening on this podcast, you served. Don't hesitate to file your claim. And we've got an alcohol and drug counselor down here on the far right. Look, man, don't ever not seek help. When it comes right down to it, he admitted to his addictions. Dude, I had some addictions, and this shit, it's a fight constantly.
You gotta learn how to matter to you.
That's right. You're absolutely right, man. Again, I had a habit of putting everything and everybody first, and never put myself first. There is a point where you have to put yourself first so you can get everything else right in your life, man.
Well, we're so used to treating ourselves the way we've always been treated by everybody else. So to learn how to treat yourself good is very important to learn to do.
Well, that was kind of how I answered one of my questions on my mental piece of my VA was, but back when I got back from Somalia, the only way there's no such thing as PTSD. And she's like, well, how would you deal with it? And I was like, well, in the state of Texas, there was no open container law. So we just pile in a truck and go get shit-faced and get in fights with frat boys at UT.
Yeah.
And she's like, what'd you say? It's like,
yeah, that doesn't compute.
Yeah, that's just what you did, right? So I think it's great that you're willing to help people. I think that's got to be, especially, we're all 50 years old, man, basically.
We're old.
And
we're old and we need to be happy.
I'm not old. I told y'all I'm in my prime, bro.
It's time to be happy.
I'm in my prime, man. I know I'm like the rest of y'all, and sometimes you wake up and you go, you get on this shit, and your body goes, the fuck you are.
Yeah, right.
And lay down and fucking relax. But if my wife were here, she'd tell you this bastard doesn't sleep more than 5 hours a night ever. And,
which wife are you talking about?
My last ex-wife.
I'm just busting your chops, John.
No, she's my last ex-wife. That's what I said. If she ever leaves me, I'm done, bro. Like,
the final.
Yeah, she's awesome, bro. But she'll tell you, this dude, I don't know what he does when he gets up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And she asked me, she said, what do you do? I said, when I wake up, I take a very deep breath, sweetie. I said, and I thank the good Lord that I'm on this earth. I said, I don't care if he doesn't allow me to sleep all that much. I said, but I promise you, I am so thankful. I said, even though I'm not blessed with being able to sleep for 8 or 10 hours a night, I'm talking weekends too. She's like, bastard gets up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning, dicking around. I clean the house, do all kinds of shit. She's like, what the hell? I'm like, dude, my mind starts working in the morning. and it's always something positive. I always tell people I wake up every morning with something positive to think about. I don't. If I can advise anybody in this world, as soon as you wake up, don't linger on the shit that's so bad in your life. Linger on everything that's friggin' positive, man. It's I have a great life, man. I've seen some horrible shit, some really horrible shit. And you were a corpsman. I've seen some horrible shit, but I've also seen some of the best things.
I put a little horrible shit in my coffee every morning.
That
works for me.
Yeah,
and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, fuck the Baileys. Let's go with tequila, right?
That waking up at 2 a.m. That's why God made Pornhub. So you'll be all right.
I like Red Tube, bro. Red Tube.
I'm
not sure what that one is.
I see that. I see you. I see you.
A bunch of you laugh. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But,
so
that's good trash. That's excellent trash.
Excellent trash. I gotta getting back to your guys' military service. How many of you guys were married or with someone in a relationship during your time in the service? Everybody, show of hands.
I've been married 4 times, bro. Look, I probably got all of you beat.
So here's a question for you, because each and every single one of you was overseas at some point. During that time that you were overseas and you were either married or had a loved one in a relationship, how did you break the news to them that you were getting deployed, and how did that go? I mean, that's huge, right? I mean, that other person in your life is super important to your sanity, and
it sucks.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, especially if you have kids also, I think that's the hardest part. Your spouse knows there's a possibility, and I had some younger kids and stepkids, and I think that was harder to break to them, that I'd be gone. I didn't tell them I was going to war. I didn't tell them no details, but look, I got to leave for a year or however long. It's my wife already knew. My wife and I, when we met, she's 5 years older than me. She's old cougar. I was younger than her, but I told her, I said, this is my life. This is what I do. And there's a possibility. I've been on training status. When I met her, I was training medics down here in San Antonio. I was like, possibility, I guarantee you, after I'm done training medics, I said they're going to redeploy me. And they sure did. They made me go train and become an advisor in Iraq. And that was 4 months of training, then another 16-month deployment. The hardest time I ever had to break anything to anybody was I came back from that 16-month deployment. I went to Fort Hood, and I went check into my brigade, and I was supposed to get a year at home before they deployed. And brigade sergeant major goes, I'm going to sign you here. I got some bad news. He goes, I know you were supposed to get a year of stabilization. He goes, we're leaving in 6 months.
Wow.
So
what year were you at Hood?
9, 10, 11 till I retired in 14. End of 11, end of 14. But
when it was a shithole.
I don't know, dude. I was stationed at fucking Fort Polk twice. So I'm from Louisiana.
So Hood was a retreat.
Well, my wife wanted me to retire there. She loved it. She's from San Antonio, but she fucking loved Fort Hood. Colleen. The deal is I went to Fort Polk twice voluntarily, but I'm from that area in Louisiana, so
that just shows how smart John is.
Yeah, I didn't say I was smart. I mean, I'm strategic. I sometimes I need to break and needed to be near my family, and it just so happened that the shittiest duty station in the Army is close to home for me. So anytime I called, say, the assignments branch and said, hey, I want to go to Fort Polk, I mean, I think they went and rubbed one out in the bathroom and then came back and put me on assignment. I promise you. They rubbed one out and they came back. They're like, hey, when I was at Fort Bragg, I'm going to tell you, I called them. I was at 82nd and I said, hey, I want to go to Korea and I want a HAP assignment, which if you volunteer to go to Korea, they let you go anywhere in the entire United States Army you want to go when you come back. And I was like, I want to go to Korea and I want a HAP assignment to Fort Polk, Louisiana. The dude got silent for like 3 or 4 minutes, man. Like, I think he almost had a heart attack. He's like, that's like an assignments manager. Everybody's always trying to go to Italy or Hawaii or some shit. And I'm trying to go to Korea and Fort Polk. I mean, I didn't tell you I was smart, Brandon. Hell, we were wrestling practice. You know I wasn't smart, bro. Like,
yeah, but you were tough as nails.
You don't gotta be smart. You just gotta be determined.
Hey, you just said tough as nails, dude. That shit is so funny that you said that. I actually did a documentary about combat medics when I was a trainer down here in San Antonio. How somebody decided to put me on camera, I have no clue. Probably because I'm full of shit and I like to talk. But I did a documentary for the History Channel for combat medics and wounded warriors. And some asshole that was interviewing me, and I didn't know, because they do the dialogue after. The dude goes, "Yeah, this is John Tough as Nails Buford." The fact that you said that, dude, I was like this, man. I was like, you said that, and I'm like, fuck, man. What the hell, dude? I had a reputation since high school, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, if anybody rolled with you on the mats, they knew it.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you what, man. I had some of the biggest. I've got 5 combat tours, and some of the toughest battles I fought were on the mat with you and friggin' Elvis, man. The two of you guys, the toughest goddamn battles I fought in my life were on that mat with you and Elvis in practice, bro.
So
you all prepped me for the rest of my life. I promise you.
Hey, Brandon, I didn't have, so I was single when all the deployments I went on, but I can tell you that, my oldest, he's been in 11 years. He's 11B.
Wow.
And his first duty station, he was up at Wainwright, Alaska. And then he went so he didn't deploy. And then he went from Alaska straight to Germany for 3 years, didn't deploy. And by this time, he's E5P, and he's jonesing to go because he's got soldiers that he's in charge of that have already deployed like twice, right? So, and I'm telling this because I can say what I saw it do to my wife when he went from Germany to 10th Mountain, the actual 10th Mountain for the that was in Black Hawk Down, and they did the run. Like, that was the unit he actually went to.
Thor's 160th.
Yeah. And as soon as he got there, they said, "You're shipping out." And seeing, what it did to her was there was always a possibility, but she was spoiled, I guess, right? He had spent 6 years in, he hadn't deployed, and all of a sudden he's going. And the devastation on her face was,
wow.
Oh, yeah.
And me, she's like, "Aren't you scared?" And I'm like, he's trained. I mean, he's going to go do his job. I mean, there's, nothing I can do sitting here. Trust his training, trust his people, he'll be fine, right? And so, but that was one of the hardest things, other than having family members pass, just seeing the terror on her face, knowing that he was going. And, John, are you 11B?
No, I was 68 whiskey, a medic, but I was a paratrooper, and most of my units were combat arms. And
all right,
yeah.
Well, 11 Bravos, they're not wrapped too tight, right? I think they are brainwashed into thinking that they are
invincible,
indestructible. That's right. Yeah,
they might as well all be Marines.
True story.
I rationalize what you said, man, because you asked about our wives. My mother, I can tell you this, man. Like, I didn't even tell my wife I was retiring, bro. I went down, put all my paperwork in to retire, and when they approved my retirement, I went to my wife and I said, "Hey, are you ready to go back to San Antonio?" She goes, "They're offering you an assignment at San Antonio." I said, "No, we're retiring. I'm done." And she goes, "We weren't going to talk about this." I mean, I only had one more rank.
we weren't going to talk about this?
I only had one more rank that I could get. I mean, Sergeant Major was the only rank I had left. She goes, "Aren't you up for Sergeant Major in April?" I said, "Yeah, that's why I'm retiring in February." I said, "I'm going to make the Sergeant Major list, and it's going to wind me out to like 29 years with the time that I owe him." I said,
"That's Jerry Byrd."
I said, I'm tired. I said, "I'm tired and I want to go home," right? Kind of got in an argument, of course, because I didn't consult her, and I was wrong, and I'm sorry, and can you forgive me? But the shit's already done, okay? It's fucking done.
You know,
so the next call I made was to my mother. And, you know, I'd gone through 3 ex-wives, and my wife at the time been with me. We've been together about 9 years. And I called my mother and said, "Hey, Mom," I said, "I got some good news." She goes, "No shit." She goes, "What, you're fucking deploying again?" And I'm like, "No, I'm retiring." And I swear, my mother didn't say it. And my mother talks more than I do. She didn't say anything for like 4 minutes. I thought the old woman had a fucking heart attack. I'm like,
she probably did.
I'm
probably
like,
had a stroke.
I'm like, are you fucking okay?
There's a moment of relaxation, right?
She goes, "I'm crying." She goes, you don't know how much age you have put on me over the years."
Yeah.
She goes, "You act like, and you come back and act like this shit never happened. Like you walk back into your world like it didn't happen, like it didn't affect you, it didn't affect anyone else." But I never realized how much it affected that old lady. And she ain't old, but I never realized how much it
What they
impacted
say,
her. My mother
distance
saw me
to love is what wind is to flame.
Yeah.
Look at you, Mr. Philosopher.
It's true.
He was always a brainiac, B. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, in 2003, in the initial invasion, there were reporters everywhere embedded with you, right? And when I got back, my mother saw me fighting on CNN.
Wow.
Like actually saw me digging with my Kevlar a fucking hole. I was digging. She goes, did you take your helmet off and start digging a hole? And I was burying myself like a rat. We were getting shot at. Look, I'm talking, I had my helmet off, digging a hole, trying to get some cover, right? And I said, "How the hell did you know that?" She goes, "I seen you on CNN." And I'm like,
"Why did you watch CNN, Mom?"
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck are you watching that for? Right?
That
was the big station back then. But you know, dude, I'm telling you, man, look, I love you guys, man. Some of you I don't know, hell, because you all look old. You probably looked a lot younger when I did know you in high school. and y'all are a year younger than me.
Hold on a second. I think there's somebody coming on board.
Get out of here.
Let me see here. I think if it's the person that I think it is.
We're all in trouble now.
Let me see if I can pull up some information here.
But you were the quarterback.
Hey, I love you guys, but I got to get going.
Brett Durkin was quarterback.
Rick, thank you for coming, brother. Thank you for your service.
You bet, man. You too, man.
Plenty of love to you and everything that you're doing. Keep going, man.
Thank you, Brandon. I love you guys a lot, man. You guys be good. Take good care.
All right, love you too, man. Take care.
Bye, Rick.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Take care, Lance. Yep, take care.
All right, coming. Oh, there he is. Mr. US Navy.
What's up, Hum?
Hummy, Garner. Hummy, Jeremy.
What are you guys doing? Dude, I love Navy Seabees, man. I'm telling you right now, out of all the Navy people, Seabees are the best, bro.
Hey, I'm going to take a quick potty break. Keep talking amongst yourselves.
I got to get rolling, too. Hummy, how are you, man?
What's up, Hummy?
Yeah.
Good. Busy.
Hey, with that beard, I hear words, but I don't see your mouth moving.
The beard's moving.
Yeah.
Connection sucks.
Beautiful beard, ain't it? Look at that.
Dude, I'm jealous, dude. I thought I was coming on looking
Like a
the
puppet.
old man, but damn, dude, that thing is
All right, guys.
that thing is magnum, bro.
Peace out. See ya.
Hey Jeff, real quick question.
Hey, I've been growing it since.
Quick transition.
Go ahead.
Well,
Jeff, what was the most difficult transition for you going from normal everyday civilian life to the military? Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
I don't know, just dealing with the day-to-day stuff, really. I mean, military winds you up so tight, I mean, it's like you said, man, you don't sleep a whole lot anymore. I mean, I don't sleep 8 hours a night. I might sleep 6, 7 at the most. I mean, it's the transitions. It's interesting. It's kind of a day-to-day thing.
Gotcha. Well,
yeah.
well, Jeremy, it's good to see you. For those of you at home, this is Jeremy Garner, and give us a little bit of history on you, man. You came on board on Memorial Day 2020, and gave us your info. And I know, I think there's a little pee break going on right now, but they'll be right back. We've been on since 2 o'clock, so it's been a long one today. I'm glad you made it. Popped in though, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys. Yeah, shoot. I joined the Navy. Let's see. I waited 2 years and I left Taft. I moved to New Mexico. I think I was there about 2 years. I joined the Navy because I was like, I need a fucking career. Like, I can't make any money, maybe I'll like it,
Yeah.
So I went and got drunk is what I did.
There you go. I like your honesty.
But yeah, I was a construction mechanic in the Seabees for 2 years. Got
Where's the internet?
Yep.
There you go. Go ahead.
Oh, so I got to go to Spain. No wartime, thank God, even though I wanted it. I'm kind of glad I didn't get to see that.
Yeah, right. Oh man. Well, here's Brandon's back. There we go. Boom.
I'm back.
He's back. Jeremy is going over his history with the military.
Yeah, I just kind of quickly heard he was discussing his gratefulness for not having to see wartime. I'll tell you, I kind of understand that. Only a short time in, I always felt like I was missing something, not having gone to war. You train every single day, all month long, to go and see action. And when you don't, there he is. Look at that.
That's what he looks like, guys.
That's a handsome guy without that big giant hairy thing on his face. But no, I can kind of understand that, because you spend so much time just training for the activity. It's kind of, I always tell people, it's hard to explain, but I always tell people it's kind of like being on a football team, and every day you go to practice, and you never have a game day.
Yeah.
And
right.
You train and you train and you train, and you never go. But what I will tell you, just like you, Hummy, every single day I am super grateful that I didn't have to experience that.
Absolutely.
I'm super proud and super thankful for all these other guys that have gotten on thus far, that have talked about a little bit of their experience and their, the things that they've seen and the things that they've gone through. I think God protects those who are dumb and innocent, and I consider myself one of the dumb ones. So I'm
amen, brother. Amen.
I'm grateful that He protected me from things that could have possibly caused me detrimental harm, whether it be mentally or physically. I call myself fortunate. And it took me a long time to accept that, and to accept myself as a veteran, because I did not serve as though some of others did, you know, going overseas and seeing combat and being in the mix. And I mean, I had my own mix that I was involved in because we had a peacetime mission for my job, but not what a lot of these guys and gals have seen. And I'm thankful to the good Lord above that he was always constantly protecting me and keeping me in a good place, and that I didn't have to fight those demons that a lot of people end up doing. So I resonate with what you're talking about, Hum.
Yeah. I mean, when I joined up, I was gung-ho. I started working out. I was running every day. Let's go fight, kill, kill, kill. And you know what I mean? And that, like Brad said, all you do is train. It's like, you know, but like I said, I'm grateful that I didn't have to see that horror.
How many years did you serve? Hummy?
2 years. 2.
2 years? Gotcha.
Yeah. Huh?
Where were you stationed for the most of it?
Port Hueneme. I was there at A school for a little over a year because I broke my ankle. So I ended up having to stay there, and then got healed up from that and went to Gulfport, Mississippi for about 2 months, and then we shipped out to Spain.
Whereabouts in Spain?
Rota.
Yeah, that doesn't mean nothing to me. Speak a little bit more English for me.
Rota. R-O-T-A.
Rota.
Whereabouts in Spain is that? We lost him.
You locked up there.
Anybody else know where Rota is?
No,
come on, Jeff. You're the smart guy.
I'll go with Spain.
I've been to Spain, but I've never been there.
Where's Rota?
Yeah, it's a Spanish Navy port, and we had a camp there.
Oh, okay. Right on. And it's R-O-T-A, you said?
Yep.
So what are you doing nowadays, Hummy? You're in Texas still, right?
Pipe welder, pipe fitter, traveling, pipe welder, pipe fitter.
Nice.
Just doing my thing, man, taking care of my family.
There you go.
So for those of you who are at all like curious, that little mark right there, where
that'd be Rota.
US Naval Station Rota.
Thanks for the navigation, Brandon.
Yeah, so I've been to Gibraltar.
Oh,
so
nice.
I was somewhat close.
Yeah. But yeah, I got into a lot of trouble after I got in the Navy. I was like, fuck it. I don't have nobody telling me what to do. I don't have a girlfriend. You know what I mean? I'm going to do my damn thing. And if I have any regrets, that's it, you know? Shit.
Didn't keep you busy enough, huh?
Well, yeah, I got out of prison 7 times, so I didn't learn the first 6 times. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
That's not why you were in, though, right?
In where?
In the Navy.
Oh, no. Well, that'd be awesome. That would be awesome if they offered it. Shit. Hell yeah, let's go to Spain, not Wasco.
Not Wasco.
And you're now where?
Missouri.
Okay. But you don't spend a lot of your time there. You're traveling a lot for work, right?
Yeah, I travel any state, wherever. So yeah, I don't get to spend a whole lot of time.
Oh, he's cracking. Hey, I have a confession. When Jerry Byrd got on, I thought that was Hummy in the beginning, and he really threw me. I thought, I go, Hummy's beard's getting a little darker, a little black in his beard. I think his internet's gone south too. Hummy, you there?
He'll come back sooner or later.
There he is.
Hey, so Jeff, you said that did you marry your wife after the military?
Yeah, she's my second wife. My first wife, she was actually German. I met her obviously when I was stationed over there, and we actually got married when I got stationed at Fort Hood. But obviously she couldn't come over and stay with me because she was kind of like a live-in nurse for her dad. So obviously, things kind of went south, and she tried sleeping with everybody else in Germany, that kind of deal. But, yeah, I kind of figured that one wasn't going to work out from the beginning. I just figured I'd give it a shot. No, the wife I have now, I met her down in Texas. We didn't get married till after I got out. So, but the funny thing is, it's like I love talking to a lot of veterans because it's amazing. It doesn't matter where you serve, how long you serve. You always have these crazy stories. It's like it's stories that you don't normally hear from like general population. Me, it's like, was it 6 years ago? Apparently I had a lot of fun in Germany because was it 6 years ago? I got a message from a girl that I hung out in Germany back in '95. She's like, "Oh, you got a son." I'm like, holy cow. Dude, I was like, you know what? Throw him on it. We started Skyping. I said, throw him on a plane, flew him over here, hung out with him for a few weeks. I talked to this kid like every week, Skype all the time. He just got married, made me a grandfather. It's like,
wow.
We're going over to Germany to see him again next summer. It's like,
how old is he?
He's 26.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
And you met him. How old was he when you first met him?
18. When he turned 18, he wanted to know who I was because his mom never told him about me.
Oh, wow.
And she never told you about him?
No.
Wow.
I didn't know anything. I was completely oblivious.
How was so here's the big question, right? What was the effect on your wife, your current wife?
Right. She's the one that set up the Skype and everything for me. She was
no kidding.
No,
awesome.
She is.
That's a keeper, brother.
Dude, we've been married 18 years now, and I know people don't believe me. We haven't fought once.
Wow.
Dude, she is like the best thing that could have ever happened to me, like ever.
What did you say?
Yeah.
He said what?
Tommy said, I fought 3 times today already.
She is literally like the blessing I definitely don't deserve. I can tell you that.
Awesome.
But no, she was completely cool with it. She set everything up. She bought the plane tickets for him to come over. It was. Yeah.
So did you soften the blow by saying, "But honey, we saved $250,000 by not having to," you know what I mean? So much money though.
Well, exactly, because there was no strings attached with it. It's not like they were looking for like back child support or anything like that. He just wanted to know who I was. Yeah. And I was like, well, shoot. Even if they didn't, it don't matter. If he's my son, he's my son. It's like, right. You're never going to turn your back on that. So
yeah.
No, he's a great kid. He's a mechanic, just like I was. He's a dual citizen because the guy that she married that claimed to be his dad was an American soldier also. So he holds 2 passports, so he can basically go back and forth whenever he wants.
Wow, that's awesome.
Friggin' awesome.
No, it amazes me, all the stories. It's like everybody's got some crazy off the wall, like, crap, I can't believe that happened.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you, based off of what you were just talking about, that's why my wife was like, hey, you need to do like a 23andMe. No, bro. No. Like this. No.
Yeah, I was a little worried about doing the whole
is the one with the U.S. government. I started releasing my DNA, man, and just like you, some dude that's about 6'7" in Germany is gonna come up and be like, "Hi, Dad." I'm like, "No, bro." Like,
I'm still wondering
like,
if there's not one more out there, but you never know, really.
You never know, bro. Like this.
How many Heinekens did you have in Germany? You just never know.
Jeff,
Germany taught me about beer. It's like when when we were back in high school, it was like, what was there to drink? Budweiser, Coors, Milwaukee's Worst, Meister Chow. You had like all of the basic beers. Dude, I step off the plane in Germany, and they're like, oh yeah, Hefeweizen and Dusseldorf Alt and all these other beers, and I'm like, what the heck is that? Dude, I ended up loving it so much, man. I've been brewing beer for the past 22 years.
God,
wow.
I basically make award-winning beer now. It's like most of it's all German-based because I fell in love with the styles and the.
Do you have a company?
No, I don't have a company, but I got 3 companies wanting to hire me right now to be their master brewer.
Awesome, that's great, man.
I do it because it's a hobby of mine. I'm debating whether or not to actually go into a business with it because when it's a hobby, you love doing it. You turn it into a business, then it becomes work, and then it's like, well, do I want to take something I love doing so much and ruin it? It's
all I can say is if you have 3 companies vying for you, you have the upper hand. So that's when you slide on in and say, I'm only working 15 days or 15 hours a week, and you're going to pay me a hell of a lot of money.
No, if you have 3 companies vying for you, your beer is that good, you start your own company, man.
Right.
That means they've tasted your product and your product is as good or better than what they can produce. You start your own company, man. Don't
ship some to California, my man. Come on.
Don't sucker in for the hourly wage, bro.
Yeah, let them do the work.
I've looked into it. Unfortunately, it's basically that ship is almost kind of sailed. There's so many microbreweries up here. Like so many craft breweries, they're all over the place in here in upstate New York. There's almost as many as wineries now.
Wow.
So it's like to really get a foothold, you have to have. I mean, my product is good, obviously, but I don't know. There's so many other things. It's like, would I be able to actually get a foothold? Would I actually be able to get a market?
You can
on top of all these other guys without selling out to InBev, one of your Anheuser-Busch companies or something like that.
But you can, and if it's that good, you can actually sell your product off to Anheuser-Busch or somebody like that, and it's better than working an hourly wage, bro.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, I say spend 3 years. Spend 3 years getting your product out there and sell the whole damn ship to Anheuser-Busch, and then you can retire in luxury, my friend.
That's right, dude.
They come back on the broadcast and talk about it after you do all that.
That's right.
This is your turning point.
Don't forget to ship some to California.
And I'll go to Brandon's house. So just send it to Brandon.
Well, y'all can come here and taste it anytime you want.
That's right.
I got 2 kinds on tap right now. I got an Oktoberfest I made and a chocolate coffee porter.
Grandpa, where's the remote?
Ooh, I love myself a porter or a stout.
That's so good.
I was going to put you some cartoons on. Hold on.
Hey,
hold on, man. I'm going to get some cartoons for my granddaughter. Here,
go for it.
Hey, so one of the things that I remember from my time in the service is, some of the things that were kind of embedded in me. There were certain habits, there were certain things that I do that sometimes can be a super pain in the butt to my wife, or annoy the hell out of her, like things that I do that things have to be done a certain way. Do you guys have like certain things that have to be done a very certain way to meet your satisfaction, or am I like the oddball here?
No, I'm with it, man. Like whenever I'm doing pipe fitting, if it's not fucking perfect Nabisco at a 45, you know what I mean? It bugs me so bad because just going through boot camp, they pounded it. You need to have this like this, or we're gonna beat your ass. You know what I mean? And I think the repetition of that followed me in my later life. You know what I mean? Now that I think about it. So
yeah. So for you, it's a lot of like following through and making sure that things are done absolutely 100% correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
What
about like your everyday tasks? Like one of the things, this is super bizarre. One of the things that drives me absolutely crazy is the way that Tara folds towels. It absolutely 100% drives me nuts. I am very specific at how the towels have to be folded. And like sometimes she'll fold the laundry. I will refold it before it gets put away.
I did the same thing, Brandon.
See, even Rod.
I was like, no, I'll just fold it. Don't worry about it. Go do something.
Yeah. And
They have to
think
fit in. They got to fit. You know what I mean?
I think it's a conspiracy, to be honest. I think Tara has said, I don't want to ever fold another towel, so I'm going to just throw it all together to make Brandon redo it.
Yeah. Just ball it up and cram it in there.
Do you guys have little things like that drive your wife absolutely crazy?
Yeah. I'm fairly, I'd say, anal retentive on a lot of things. But one of the big things is what I've learned is I don't expect those things out of, say, my wife. Like, I don't like dishes in the sink. So instead of getting mad about it, I just go do them. I don't care if it's sitting there. If I look at something and it seems like with my military days, it's not like I would want it, I go do it. I don't get mad about it. Nothing. It's going to be the way I want it done. And, you know, like my wife, I was in the deer stand yesterday, and my wife sent me a text. She goes, you know what? I love you. She goes, I really appreciate you and what you do. This, that, and the other, because I woke up at like 12:30 at night for no damn reason. And we have a laundry room. It's just a separate room. Like, it's like 400 square foot room. I went in there, reorganized it and redone it, and then left to hunt at 4 o'clock in the morning. And she sent that, but I appreciate the fact that she sent, and she appreciated the fact that I did it, because I don't sit and push my old life off on her, because I am very meticulous in how I do things. I have a very meticulous schedule. It causes.
Oh, we lost him.
Dang it.
Froze up.
Hey, I thank you guys for your service, man. I'm glad we got to hang out. I got to eat. I'm about to starve to death.
Yeah, I think you're going to be okay, homie, but get yourself some food, and thank you for your service, my friend.
All right. Take it easy, guys. Later.
Go Army, beat Navy.
Later, man.
Yeah, I got to get going here in a minute too. It's honestly the one thing that I have that kind of bugs my wife a little bit is I always want to get there early. The whole thing, I don't want to be late. It's like I want to get there early. You know, it's like if we ever fly, whenever we fly somewhere, it's like, you know, they say be there 2 hours early. I want to be there earlier than that. I don't want to be the one rushing through security, trying to rush down, because I've missed a couple flights before. I mean, granted, it was because of delayed flights and this and that, but it's like I want to make sure I have the extra time. And it's like it drives her nuts sometimes, because she's just like, we're sitting here for an extra hour, we could have still been in bed. And I'm like, yeah, but traffic and this and that, you know, it's like so many things could have happened. And that's just a pet peeve of mine that I got from the military. It's
absolutely, you know, well, 5 minutes early is late, right?
Yeah. 30 minutes early, that's about on time.
Bro, I'm gonna.
Oh man, he keeps cutting out as soon as he starts talking.
Is that frozen?
He's frozen in time.
Well, guys, I think we've reached almost a 3-hour broadcast, Brandon.
Holy smokes.
It's like it's been a marathon.
Yeah.
I think we've what, about 10 vets we had on, something like that.
Man. So there's a couple things that I want to say before we cut out of here, Rod, if you don't mind. Number one, let's talk about some of the unsung heroes. And that's the spouses of the military. You know, I can only speak for my wife because she's my wife, and that's who I know. But, you know, they endure a lot. She didn't have to endure a lot of like me being deployed or things like that, or continuous years. But I have multiple friends. You know, I have a family of friends called, their last name's the Butts. And they're all like West Point graduates, and they have kids that are West Point graduates, amazing people. And, you know, all I can say is that the military spouse, whether it be a male or a female, it doesn't matter. They put up with so much, and they're the unsung heroes on Veterans Day. On Veterans Day, we, the ones who actually were the ones who signed the contract and went in, we're the ones who get the recognition, but truly the ones who deserve the
Yeah,
recognition
well said,
are
Brandon.
those that are left behind. You know, I mean, I gotta say that my wife, Tara Penny, for those that you don't know, I married that absolutely beautiful, wonderful lady, and she endured so much when during my short time in the service. You know, having left everyone, all of her friends, her family behind to join me in no man's land, Oklahoma, and trying to become, you know, trying to integrate herself into the military service, but not really being integrated in it. And so, you know, number one, first and foremost, thanks to all the military spouses. So I can't say that enough.
A lot of times they're at home raising the kids. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the case with us. I mean, I never deployed overseas, but I was constantly being deployed in the United States for 30, sometimes 60 days at a time doing support services. So there were many, many times where I was gone. Part of that time, I remember there was a December of 1998. 98? Yeah, 1998, December of 1998. We were living off base in a place, and we got a notice because the people who owned the home, we were paying them, but they were never paying the mortgage. So ultimately, we got notice that we were going to be kicked out of the home, and so I then within like 3 days got notified that I was going to be gone for 30 days up in Kansas, of all places.
Yeah.
And I scrambled to try to find another home to move to. And my wife is 6 months pregnant, and I'm going to be leaving for 30 days. And there's the chance of them coming and locking the house up and never having a place for her to stay. So we scrambled, found a place to stay, moved out of our home on Christmas Day with my wife pregnant. And that's where the military friends and family kind of side comes in, because they came in and helped me move to make sure that my family was secure before I left.
Yeah.
And then I left, and she had to endure all that time without me. So, you know, first and foremost, spouses of military, there's nothing more honorable than that. Thank you for your service and your time in service to this country. I 100% love you guys and appreciate you. And then there's another side of things that doesn't get recognized as being military service, and that's the Merchant Marines. There's a window actually that is being recognized as military service for the Merchant Marines, and those are people who go out on ships and provide the necessary items for our sailors, our soldiers, and our Marines and our airmen across the world. Yes. They provide shipments through our intercontinental waterways to assist all of those out there. And the only ones that have been recognized as a military service are those that served during World War II. And one thing I'll say about that, so it hits a kind of a soft spot with me. My brother-in-law, Ty Penny, who's also a Taft High graduate, has served with the Merchant Marines for, I believe, around 22 years, 21, 22, maybe even 23 years. So my shout out to him. He's actually a ship captain and is at the helm of the ship, operating out in all kinds of craziness. And I just want to say thank you to him and all the other Merchant Marines out there. One of the other things that I want to talk about regarding the Merchant Marines is during World War II, there were almost 10,000 Merchant Marines that died during World War II, trying to provide all of these services to military men and women in combat. And it's not well known, but they actually have a higher proportion of people killed than any other branch of the United States military during that time frame, which is one of the reasons that they got recognized as providing and as being a military service. And they have all of the VA benefits and everything. If you were a World War II veteran, World War II Merchant Marine during that window, you are recognized as a veteran. But all of the other Merchant Marines are not, which is super unfortunate because they are the lifeline for all of us.
Absolutely.
And so I really want to hand that shout out to them. And the other part of it is because, you know, my brother-in-law, Ty Penny, he graduated from Cal Maritime Academy in California, became a Merchant Marine. My son also graduated from that college, that university. And so it hits close to home. And so I want to make sure that there's those unsung heroes that aren't acknowledged during Veteran Day. So that's my pulpit. That's my box that I stand on.
I'm
so
glad that you mentioned it. Thank you so much. And everyone who came by today and spent some time, thanks to all the veterans, Mr. John Buford, you've got some.
Oh, you cut out, Rod.
Am I cut out?
There you go. You're back up.
You hear me? We're gonna do it again. Memorial Day, Brandon. Are you down? You hear me?
I'm always in, man. Anything having to do with our vets.
Well, we're gonna pick up the missing links. The people who didn't make today, we're gonna bring them on board. Hope you guys are able to hop back on. Memorial Day 2023. Crazy, right?
Hey, Rod. Look, man. I came off for a second. I had to get something to eat, and my granddaughter's running around here. Look, I appreciate what you've done, man, for real. Getting everybody together. Brandon, same with you, man. I appreciate you reaching out, even though it was kind of for the reunion. But, dude, it's absolutely great to see you, man. You haven't almost aged not about, well, that much. But
a little bit.
Bro, you all look great, man. Take care of yourselves, man. I really appreciate y'all bringing me on. I was really a Taft Union High School guy just my senior year. So I appreciate it. And God bless y'all, man. Keep on keeping on like Joe Dirt, man. Just keep on doing what you do, man. And love you guys. If you ever need anything, again, I'm on Brandon. I got you, Rod. You're on my Facebook too.
Yep.
Anybody wants to kick off my Facebook, if you ever need anything from me, please reach out to me, man.
Hey, and I'm coming to San Antonio at some point. I'm gonna hit you up, brother.
Don't you threaten me with a good time, bro.
All right, guys. Keep in contact. Much respect, much love to all of you. Yes.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Jeff,
it, guys.
It was such a pleasure to see you, buddy. Take care of yourself.
You guys too, man. Take it easy. Have a good evening.
All right, guys.
Good job, Rod. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.